Welcome everybody. Thanks for tuning in. You have arrived at the right place to be today on Friday, June 19th. You are here at the Old Globe Arts Engagements Juneteenth celebration, which is part of their collab program. And today's Juneteenth celebration is going to be fan-frickin-tastic. I'm so excited because we have so much to share with you today. So many wonderful artists from around San Diego. We're going to share some of the great work that the collab program has been doing with our partners at the 4th District Senior Resource Center, also called the George L. Stevens Senior Center, which is in Southeast San Diego. They have been our partners for about 5 years, and we have done plays in their center. We've also, though, been doing the work of creating some amazing original plays that tell the stories that they want to share and leave with all of us to learn a little bit about the history and the lives of African Americans through their eyes. So we're going to see some of that today as well. If you all don't know, you're not familiar with Juneteenth. Juneteenth is the day that we celebrate that acknowledges when the final group of slaves were freed. This happened about 2.5 years after the actual Emancipation Proclamation that was declared by President Abraham Lincoln. And so over the years, throughout the United States, this celebration has grown and grown and grown to incorporate more and more Black folks all across the country. It's a really significant part of American history, even though you might think of it as only Black history, but its significance is about our shared freedom, the moment we were all able to actually declare that we are free. So I welcome you. I thank you for joining in with us today. And what we've got going on right now is a little bit of information. Usually what would happen right now is that the Juneteenth celebration would be happening at the 4th District. But of course, because of the COVID, we are not able to do that. So we're doing it instead online today. And I want to share this next video with you. What is Juneteenth?
Originally, I'm from Texas, and that's where it all started from, the southern states.
The history of Juneteenth, it began in 1863 when President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation.
Is of course the celebration of the proclamation, the Emancipation Proclamation, which means that the people who had been brought here as people from their own country and enslaved when they came to the United States were now pronounced free. Of course, we know that Juneteenth was about 2.5 years after the proclamation had gone into effect. So it really went into effect on January 1st, 1863, but it wasn't until June 19th, 1865, that General Granger actually had arrived in Texas with the good news. So it's a significant day, especially when we talk about the importance of being free and the fact that we then were able to do what we needed to do for ourselves after being enslaved.
I go out every Juneteenth and celebrate somewhere, and we have a lot of celebrations that occur here in San Diego, and we also have a huge celebration here at the Senior Center, and so I always participate in that for the last few years.
Celebrating, we had barbecue, the soul food, the greens and fried fish, and always had like a barbecue, big party and stuff. Fireworks, everything on Juneteenth, because it was considered the Black 4th of July. Food was like comfort.
Juneteenth to me means that though the rights should have been granted to the slaves as like anybody else, it's sort of like a token of what we're going to allow you to have. It didn't really mean freedom. It was just a symbol of what somebody else thought, because the same problems of slavery is still going on all these years later.
We've all learned a teeny bit about what Juneteenth is and its significance. That video actually was our 4th District seniors partners, and we took some footage out there with them because we really wanted to make sure that they could be part of this day. Also, what I want to point your attention to is that we have a GoFundMe page that is set up specifically for today for you all to just donate a little bit so that we can continue to help the great work that the Senior Center does. So what I'm hoping is throughout the day you'll see some more of these videos that do feature the center, and that you'll get a chance to see and understand what they do, who they are, and their importance to the San Diego community. Now, if we were at the center for this Juneteenth celebration, one of the first things that we do when we gather together is that we would sing what is considered to be the Black National Anthem. The song is also titled Lift Every Voice and Sing, which was written by James Weldon Johnson. So I've invited a really great friend of mine. She used to be here in San Diego. She's an opera singer. Her name is Delicia Taylor. And Delicia, I've asked her to just go ahead and sing for us. Lift Every Voice and Sing to commemorate today and to get our Juneteenth celebration moving.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the roaring sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun, let us march on till victory is won. Stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod, felt in the deed that hope unborn had died, yet with a steady beat, if not a weary feet, come to the place which our fathers sighed. We have come over a way that with tears has been watered. We have come treading our path through the blood of the slaughtered. Out from the gloomy past, till now we stand at last, where the white gleam of our star is cast. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, Thou who hast brought us thus far on the way, Thou who hast by Thy might lead us into the light, keep us forever on the path we pray. Let the wine of the world, we forget thee. Shadowed beneath thy hand, may we forever stand true to our God, true to our native land.
Hey, I'm Kendrick Dowell. I'm here at the George L. Stevens Senior Center on behalf of the Old Globe.
I have the lovely Miss Rosemary here today as we explore the topic of Juneteenth. And so, how you doing, Miss Rosemary?
I'm great. I am fantastic, and I'm eagerly, and I was just thrust into the new norm. So,
Right.
welcome to the George L. Stevens Senior Center, to the new norm. Must see. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, thank you. So could you start off by telling us a little bit about the collaboration between the Old Globe and the Senior Center?
Oh, it's like love and marriage.
All right.
We go together like a horse and a carriage. It's been a beautiful, beautiful partnership with the Old Globe. About 5 or 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
And the part that's so meaningful to us in the 4th District is that you've brought the theater and the arts to our community. Several of the plays have been right here at the George L. Stevens Senior Center, and it speaks volumes to the knowledge and the education of the arts, the fine arts that we have been able to share with the seniors in the 4th District. So I always said this is the best thing since sliced bread to our community.
Right. So I know as somebody who gets to come in here and work with you all, it's a great experience for me because it helps me understand a lot about your experiences, the impact of the world and the world as you've seen it growing up. But I'm also curious about what is the impact, it has been, for you to be able to actually partake into some of the productions and things of that nature?
As far as with the overall, most definitely. Right, 1 year ago this month, the Ruby and Us,
Yes.
actual play
Yes.
was performed here as part of our Juneteenth celebration.
Yes.
And it went over fantastic.
Oh,
And,
hold on, Ms. Ripper, you
stop.
You got
Stop.
people come in. Come on.
Well, it's fish dinners. We always have fish on Fridays, yes.
They provide a lot of different sources for the community, so we invite you to come on down. As always, they are providing meals for their Fish Fry Fridays, so they're practicing being socially distant, so everything is safe, but it's always good to connect with community. So come on down and support the George L. Stevens Senior Resource Center.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kendrick, for that video. Man, Fish Fry Fridays, those are famous. At least they are in the arts engagement team. I'm getting hungry just thinking about it. The thing I want to make sure you all know is that our YouTube is not quite set up right now, having some technical difficulties. So most of this right now is all going to be on our Facebook Live. So if you got anybody else who's out there wondering where to find us, right now it's going to be just on our Facebook Live. So as always in the COVID-verse, the digital life is real. So the next thing I wanted to talk about real quick is that I want to introduce to you a really good friend of mine and a colleague and an amazing artist who's just spent a lot of time, planted roots here in San Diego, and really helped to foster a community, a generous community around creating work together. And so this is going to be my good friend, Gil Sotu. He's also been a teaching artist here at the Globe. He's a commissioned playwright with the Old Globe Theater as well. And I'm just really excited. He's going to perform a couple of pieces for us today, spoken word. And do we have Gil? Is he ready? Is he there?
I'm here.
Hey!
I'm here.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, happy Juneteenth.
Happy Juneteenth, bro. How are
Here.
you? Oh, man. I'm so excited that you're here. I know you've got 2 pieces for us. I'm hoping you could just maybe introduce the first one for us. We'll get into that, and then we'll chat a little bit before we go into the second.
Sure, no doubt. So the first piece is called My Pen Feeds Children, and I was just thinking about how much of a blessing and how far my own journey is to working a regular 9 to 5 to being a full-time artist and a teaching artist and everything. And it's really it's a celebration of my own Black excellence. You know, sometimes you got to celebrate yourself and just look back and see all that you've accomplished in life. But then it also speaks about just what was going on. This was happening before all the everything happened, but it still is very relevant. And it keeps surprising me how I look at things in the past and it still keeps coming back and back and back and back. So this is called My Pen Feeds Children.
All right.
My pen feeds children, cute brown babies, been spilling ink across sliced trees since the 90s, back spinning words like B-boys in the 80s. All that to say it's been a long time coming. My pen feeds children, never feeds statistics. Leave it up to them, I'd be in jail or a casket, handcuffed in plastic, body cammed in panic. Instead, I use their words to build worlds, Jurassic, metaphor meals out my mind, magic, murder any beat that I find, tragic, pay bills with story in rhyme, charismatic, God blesses me overtime, fantastic still. I worry sometimes, what's the kind of world I want to leave behind? What's food to a child that can't breathe outside? You need bigger than what I can provide. Some people don't care what you got inside. See your dark skin, but don't recognize shine. You're a star to a world that closes its eyes. You're a star to a world that closes its eyes. Blind leading the greedy, prayers wrote in graffiti. I'ma keep fighting till the fight don't need me. People dancing in danger, Instagramming the strangers. See me, you're a beautiful arrangement, analog or digital, your spirit and your physical. You don't need likes to prove that you are visible. See me, you're a beautiful arrangement, colorful, kind, and highly entertaining. Spirit or the physical, analog or digital, you don't need likes to prove that you are visible, indivisible, one nation, under a soul clap, patty whack, give a man a break. You say you're under pressure, but you're the one adding the weight. Soul clap, step back, release the self-hate. Don't it feel good to love yourself that way? That part, not defined by what others have. That part, just be happy you got a better half. That part, so many things could have stopped you from being born. You always believed you were a curse when all along you're a song. In the multiverse of me, I'm a 1940s crooner. Conch slick back, thick in my hair, protests hidden in my love ballads. I am a sitcom dad. I am a wounded veteran. I am an athlete trying to prove something. I am the first Black astronaut unremembered, sipping cognac on a beat-up sofa, listening to Nat King Cole's Unforgettable. What I am trying to say is that every version of me is unprogrammable. God gave us free will, so why in the hell would I allow you to take away mine? I got children's that I need to supply shelter with these sentences, lyrically, literally, and metaphorically. I got 75% of my own dopeness that I haven't even tapped into yet. Just wait till I take a machete to these insecurities. Boy, stop playing now. Step away from this morning mirror and show the world how bright you are. That's it.
You know, I was really listening to the words, and I was just thinking about what it means right now in this time to be an artist, especially when we're sort of entering this crazy economic uncertainty, and like the hustle is real in like a normal day. So how you doing? You know, how are you feeling about, you know, being able to use your words going forward?
Well, it's been a blessing. I think because I've been able to foster a community and really get out there, and sometimes doing some shows that may not have a lot of money to pay me, but I'm able to do it for the community. That has in turn it paid it forward, and it came back, and I've been blessed with people really actively trying to look out for me and my family, and and knowing that I'm an artist, and knowing that I speak through love, and I speak about hope. And so but I still recognize the issues that we have. So it's been a struggle, because I've had to really watch and look out for different opportunities. But God has really blessed me that I've been able to continue to work and teach and just share my messages.
That's awesome, man. Thank you so much. Just real quick question. I'm asking everybody today, what is Juneteenth to you?
Juneteenth is a reminder that in unity we can really accomplish great things. I know that I'm sure that there was slaves in the past that never thought that a day like Juneteenth would ever happen, and together we made it happen. But it also is a reminder, because not all slaves were free, and plus we had a whole civil rights issue that we're still dealing with today that has still not been resolved. So it also tells me that there's still more work to do.
Yeah.
So it's a double-edged sword, but I, as an artist, am going to pick it up and fight what I have to fight, and battle what I have to battle, and love who I have to love.
That's awesome, man. Do you want to go ahead and tell us real quick what your next piece is, and let's hear it?
Yeah. So this one was a commissioned piece, but it's someone had commissioned me to write about how I really, like you said, like how I really feel about all that's going on, and to really kind of take the Band-Aid off and not hold back any punches. So I wrote this, and it's called In Love. And I keep going back to this mirror image, the metaphor of the mirror, because, it's just interesting how when Black folks, we look at ourselves in the mirror, what we see, and it's not just straightforward. It's not just who we are in the inside. There's a whole myriad of things. So this is called In Love. In love, I lace my Converse, buckle my pants, don a shirt that allows for mobility, and give myself one last look in this mirror. I really need to clean this thing, but right now that doesn't matter. But what I really need is one final moment to bathe in this reflection and convince myself that I am what I say I am. No excuses, no takebacks, no apologies. Say my name. In love, I hop in the car, the whip, the ride, the hoopty, on my bike, on the bus. This is a beautiful day to just walk, and I turn up the music that makes me feel powerful, beautiful, proud, intelligent, gangster, connected, hella Black. I'm saying hella Black, and I love it. I require my music louder than you would like, because I need my head right before I gotta clock in, attend this meeting, smile in your condescending face, deal with your microaggressions, address this officer, show my ID, show my receipt, code switch, apply for this loan, apply for this job, meet your family, and or stop you from touching my hair. Say my name. In love, I invite you to my family's barbecue. I'll play in your league, make you feel welcomed in my church, in my restaurant, on my block, at my spades table, around my children, at my concerts, in my damn house, on my skin, in between my lips and out my mouth. Your pillow lay your pillow upon my hospitality, knowing that you have over 400 years of conditioning and an entire police force to cover any nighttime chills you may face. Say my name. In love, I can't stand the way that you look at me sometimes. Like you're trying to figure out where at this hour you're going to find another hoop for me to jump through, or entertain you with, or slam a ball through, or slap around my wrists. Like I'm okay for the moment, but I better not dare get any more familiar. Like I need to stay a sitcom away, a football field away, an NBA court, a concert stage, a car stereo, a manager, a publicist, an agent, a supervisor in a neighborhood away. Say my name. I'm asking you in love to show me the same respect and consideration that you want me to show you. you. You act like I don't see the adoration that you show your pets. You will kiss them in the mouth, but you get uneasy shaking my hand or allowing me in your space if I'm not working it, or even seeing me as worth your time. I know it can't be all of you. I'm generalizing, but doesn't that just suck? So if you're ready, I think it's time we met. I mean, I've entertained, loved, served, obeyed, worked for, hired, admired, listened, educated, slaved for, amused, and scared you for so long you think we'd know each other better. How about we start with names? Me first this time. My name is Sandra, George, Trayvon, Ahmad, Sean, Brianna, Natasha. I'll just stop there for a second. I know it's a mouthful, but didn't I hear you say over and over and over again that you were hungry for injustice? Good. I'm glad that we're in agreement. Say my name. In love. I've been in love with my people since Aretha. No, before that, since Nina, since Fats and Langston, since Marcus, Frederick, and Madam CJ, since my mama taught me that my head should be defaulted in the up position, that I am what I say I am, that whips won't stop this love inside of me, that shackles won't stop this love inside of me, that police dogs, nooses, hoods, handcuffs, food deserts, detention centers, defunded schools, community centers, or derogatory jokes behind my back won't stop this love inside of me. You've tried it all. Try me. I know I'm worth every bit the same as you. My life matters. Say it. Say it in love. Say it because when we are free, we didn't start our own KKK. We just wanted our God-given legal right to sit at the same polished table that you ate from, and we still don't got it. So say it. Say it in love, because if you love your neighbor, then you love me. If you love your teachers and your doctors, if you love your soldiers and your emergency workers, then you have to love me. You want to know something funny? Despite all that's been done to me for 400 years, I love you too. Because you are a human being. Because your laugh sounds like my grandfather's. Because you quote Shakespeare almost as good as my uncle. Because you cried with me when Prince died. Because you are holding a sign next to me at this protest, because you are holding my hand at church, because you made diversity matter to your company, because you taught your children our history. And what do you know? It ain't even February. In love, I come home at the end of the day, knowing now that I might not even be safe there. I kick off my worn Converse. I strip the pants and the shirt. Still haven't had time to clean this mirror. It is exhausting trying to play catch up all the time. I can think of nothing better to do than to wash off the residue of, well, everything. But first, I need this mirror. I need to let myself know that I am what I say I am, that I have a name worth saying. Love. And that's it.
I can't even tell you, to borrow the title of your piece, we are in love with having you in this community and for your contribution and for just being a wonderful human being. So thank you for coming on today.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Thanks. And just for everybody out there, so far, so good. We are at about $670 in our GoFundMe campaign for the 4th District Senior Resource Center. So thank you to all of the folks. I saw some cool folks out there that I know. Thank you, Topaz. Thank you, Mandy. Thank you, Eric, for your donations, and everybody else that has contributed thus far. Let's keep it coming. Share that link out with other folks you know. And I want to have you watch this next video, which, as we know, not a lot of folks have heard about Juneteenth. So when did you first find out about Juneteenth?
So when did you all even learn about Juneteenth?
I learned after I was grown here in California. We knew the history of slaves,
Right.
but Juneteenth did not become popular in celebrating until I came to California.
I know.
I'm from South Carolina and born into a family where my own great-grandmother was an original slave brought over from Africa, and we learned her life and we celebrated her life.
Right.
So I didn't know about Juneteenth until I moved to San Diego in 1964.
So how did you find out about it? Like what happened that you started celebrating?
I retired in 2015 from the San Diego Community College District, and I was teaching a class, a social issues class, and we were talking about the 4th of July. And one of my students, I taught older adults for 33 years, and one of the students said, "What about Juneteenth celebration?" And I said, "June what? June who?" And you don't know about Juneteenth? No, I don't. So that I was really, it was an eye opener.
I was adult when I found out. I grew up in Arizona, and they didn't celebrate too much in Arizona, but they do now. So I have all my family and friends are there, and so they do celebrate it.
What's interesting is that being raised in California, I really didn't know anything about it. Right. And I was an adult when I found out about it as well. And the celebration, then I had to be told what the celebration was about. Also, I had never heard Lift Every Voice and Sing, which is the Negro National Anthem. I never heard that until I lived in Oklahoma in 1980. I had never heard that song. They did not celebrate and did not do those things in San Diego. So we didn't have that, and then it actually came later on. Now I'll be 75 this year. So I would say maybe when I was 40, I really started finding out what was going on.
All right. So part of the Juneteenth celebration, as it would happen at the George L. Stevens Center, we would do something that has a little bit more about our history. It raises up history and knowledge that we may not have had generally from school, from our families. And so a couple of years ago, we actually worked with the seniors to do some writing. And one of them, Claudia Thompson, was really, really passionate about one subject, which was Elizabeth Keckley. And Elizabeth Keckley was actually the dressmaker for Mary Lincoln Todd. And so she wrote a wonderful piece. It's about 30 minutes long, and it features some amazing actors from around San Diego. So sit back, grab a little drink, get some popcorn, because that's my favorite treat, and enjoy Elizabeth Hobbs Keckley.
My name's Elizabeth, but sometimes I'm called Lizzie. I have often been asked about my eventful life. I don't need to exaggerate my life. I can just tell it as it happened. I was born a slave, was the child of slave parents. Therefore, I came upon this earth free in godlike thought, but fettered in action. My birthplace was Dinwiddie Courthouse, Virginia. I was told by my mistress that I was not fit for equality. Yet I was taught by my dear mother Aggie to rely upon myself and to prepare to render assistance to others. I invited criticism in my life, but before the critics judge me, let me tell my story so that you may carefully weigh what happened. I will begin with my girlhood and its sorrows as a Burwell slave.
Elizabeth is increasingly insolent and she needs to be punished. I've tried speaking to my husband about her, but he refused to listen to my complaints. So it's left to me to discipline Elizabeth. She constantly ignores my commands. Mr. Bingham, as schoolmaster, you reprimand disobedient boys daily. So I am certain that you could change Elizabeth's behavior and attitude. Her stubborn pride and rebellious spirit must be subdued. I will not tolerate it.
Elizabeth does have a mind of her own. I know I can beat the stubbornness and pride out of her.
I have 6 children and many responsibilities in running my home while teaching school. By nighttime, I'm drained, and much of it is Elizabeth's fault. She constantly ignores my commands. I admit I have a temper, and I pray to God that this burden is lifted from me. But I am fretful with my servants, and I'm taxed and tired. There are days when nothing seems to go right, and those are the days when Elizabeth tests me the most.
Lizzie, I'm gonna whip you. Take your dress down this instant.
No, Master Bingham. I shall not take down my dress before you. Moreover, you shall not whip me unless you prove this stronger. Nobody has the right to whip me but my own master, and nobody shall do so if I can prevent it.
Lizzie, I'm gonna beat you and beat you with this rawhide, so be still while I take this rope.
Mr. Bingham picked up a rawhide and began to apply it freely on my shoulder. It cut the skin, bleeding, but I did not scream. I told Mr. Bingham that I was ready to die, but he could not conquer me. Later, he hit me again, and I bit his fingers severely. Many slaves believe that you fight, and if you can't fight, you kick, and if you can't kick, you bite. And that's exactly what I did. I then approached Master Burwell. Master Burwell, why did you let Mr. Bingham flog me? What have I done that I should be so punished?
Go away, don't bother me.
What have I done? I will know why I have been flogged. I saw Master Burwell's cheek flush with anger, and since I would not move until I got an answer, he struck me with a chair and I fell to the floor. I rose, bewildered. I went to my room and dressed my wounds. I could not sleep. I had suffered mental and bodily torture from the hands of my master, a reverend. But since Mr. Bingham would no longer beat me, Mistress Burwell approached her husband and convinced Master Burwell to beat me. But when she saw him beat me, she fell to her knees. She said, "Stop, Robert, stop! You're gonna kill him, Robert! Stop! I beg you to stop!" Later, Master Burwell approached me and said, "Elizabeth, I will never strike you again." When I reflect on these times, I shudder. I was furious. Cruelty from two men who brutally beat me but preached the love of heaven. One from the pulpit, the other from the pew. And distress was piled on me from a woman with a cold and jealous heart. Can I forgive these savage efforts to subdue my spirit? It was not only the efforts of the Burwells to subdue my rebellious spirit that brought deep mortification. For 4 painful years, I was persecuted by a white man. I spare the world his name, but he had based his eyes upon me, and I became a mother, and he the father. I did not want to bring my only child, George, into slavery, but I did, through no will of mine. Yet God only knows I loved him. The years passed and brought many changes, including marriage to James Keckley. That did not last. But I will not dwell on those changes, as I want to hasten to the most interesting part of my story. My troubles with the Burwells ended when I began to live with Master Burwell's daughter, Anne Garland, and her husband, Hugh Garland, a lawyer. They moved to St. Louis, and I with them. I wanted to be free. I wanted to purchase freedom for me and my son, who was now 16. Master Garland, I would like to purchase my and my son's freedom.
Absolutely not, Elizabeth. Do not bother me again with such a request.
Master Garland, I must ask again for the opportunity to purchase my son. What price must I pay for myself and my son?
Here, Lizzie, just take this silver dollar. If you really want to leave, you can leave on the ferry boat to Illinois, where you and your son can be free. It's the cheapest way to accomplish what you desire.
No, Master. If I took your coin and left on the ferry boat, I would not be free. I can cross the river any day, and I've frequently done so, as you well know. But I will never be freed by running away. By the laws of the land, I am your slave, you are my master, and I will only be free by such means as the laws of the country provide. Later, Mr. Garland reconsidered and said he would take $1,200 for my freedom, since he could not support his family on his earnings. For 2 years, 5 months, my sewing kept bread in the mouths of 17 people in the Garland household. In 1854, Mr. Garland died. Mrs. Garland approached me and treated me like a lingering, pesky problem.
So, you plan to go to New York to secure the $1,200 to buy your freedom. If that is the case, then I will require signatures from 6 gentlemen who will vouch for your return.
But Mr. Garland did not require that of me. He didn't mention 6 signatures.
Mr. Garland is gone now. I require the signatures, Lizzie.
I will get them. The truth was, though, I was only able to obtain 5 signatures. I wept with sadness and great disappointment. Darkness and grief settled over me. Even though I had kind and faithful clientele, I never expected that one would come to my aid. Mrs. LeBourgeois was a handsome, kind, and cherry woman who came to the house. She brought sunshine and hope with her.
I hear that you are going to New York to beg for money to buy your freedom. Now, I've been thinking it over, and I told Ma that I thought it would be a shame for you to beg for something we should give you. I am going to talk to your friends in St. Louis and raise the $1,200 required among them. I have $200 put away for a present, and I will give that present to you. I also indebted to you $100. Ma owes you $50, and she will add another $50 to it. Do not go north until you see what I can do among your friends.
I am very grateful to you and your mother, Mrs. LeBourgeois. This is a loan, and I will pay back every penny. I thank you.
Don't you worry, Lizzie. We will get the money, and you and your son will be free.
I didn't know anyone else who had bought their freedom. Free. What a glorious ring to the word. The bitter heart struggle is over. Free. The soul could to wear a brighter look, and the very stars seem to sing with joy. Free. Free by the smile of God and the laws of man, and heaven bless them who made me so. I know what freedom is because I know what slavery was. My freedom allowed me to open my own dressmaking business and to teach sewing. In 1892, I left Washington for Ohio, but before then, I had dressed women in the social circles of Washington, D.C. And one of those women introduced me to Mrs. Mary Todd Lincoln. Teaching women to operate their own businesses brought immeasurable rewards to my life. I am proud to say I sent out many talented and successful dressmakers. I taught what I believe is a fine and successful dressmaker. I insisted on proper posture, and for many students, this was challenging. If they were to lean over while pinning material on their knees, it would surely cause them to slouch. Sitting erect projects confidence, but also reduces headache, eye strain, and exhaustion. I also told them my 8 rules for success. 1, give your client what she wants. 2, referrals will come if you have integrity in your work. 3, learn how to operate a business. 4, walk and speak with confidence. 5, give your client a strong relationship with them. 6, fit is very important. 7, learn how to style hair and choose accessories becoming to your client. 8, sit straight when you pen. Because I continually lectured about the importance of good posture, allow me to demonstrate how to sit with good posture and pen. I was Mrs. Lincoln's Modiste, that means fashionable dressmaker, and confidant for 4 years while she and President Lincoln were in the White House. She was one of the most complex women I have ever known. After the president's assassination, it took Mrs. Lincoln 5 weeks to finally leave the White House. She remained in bed countless days, it seemed. Her mood shifted continuously, and she screamed and wallowed in aching sorrow. I witnessed her deep and unbearable misery. Her heart was broken. She was frantic, depressed, and felt guilty about the president's death.
I gave my husband to die. I insisted he go to the theater. Or why wasn't I taken?
I cannot answer that question, Mrs. Lincoln. Only God can.
You talk of God, Lizzie, but I doubt my ability to submit to his will. In time, my friends will forget me. I will be alone. They will say to me, with the passage of time, you will heal. Time will not soften my sorrow, nor will I ever be reconciled to the loss until the grave closes over with remembrance and I'm reunited with my beloved husband.
I closed my business to help you move here, and I am pleased to see that this is a delightful place. You will pass your time here pleasantly. Look, Mrs. Lincoln, you have a beautiful and calming view of the lake.
Oh, God, no. Oh, what a dreary place, Lizzie. And to think I have been compelled to live here because I have not the means to live elsewhere. Oh, what a sad state has come to us all. Oh, what a sad change. Has ever a woman suffered so much and experienced so great a change? I had ambitions to be Mrs. President. Those ambitions have been gratified. Now I must step down off the pedestal.
Let me get a cold compress for your forehead and bathe your eyes.
I will be shrouded in black because I will mourn forever. No more of your beautiful dresses, Lizzie. I recall the white satin gown with the lace overlay I wore to the second inauguration for the president. But that is no more.
I mourn too. The president's death deeply touched me and my people. He lifted them out of bondage and directed their footsteps from darkness to light. No common mortal died. The Moses of my people has fallen in the hour of his triumph.
Oh, Lizzie, I could have thanked him for his almost lifelong devotion to me, and I could have asked his forgiveness for any inadvertent moment of pain I may have caused him.
Roberts talked about forgiveness too. He cannot forgive himself for his absence at the theater. He believes if he had been at the theater, he could have stopped the assassin from killing his father.
My dearly beloved husband was the light of our eyes, and we had great love for him. But I wonder, as great as he was, if we could love him sufficiently. He was all forgiveness, and others were not. Oh, Lizzie, you are my best and kindest friend, and I think of you as my best friend. I confide in you and trust you with my most personal matters, and you never disappoint me. You are my truthful, reliable companion. Oh, Lizzie, please promise me that you will write to me.
I promise, Mrs. Lincoln.
Here, take this picture of me, and remember me as your true and loving friend.
I went on with my life. In 1868, my book, Behind the Scenes, 30 Years a Slave or 4 Years in the White House, was published. The newspapers reviewed my book, and the newsies pitched what they called the shocking news in the afternoon editions.
A literary thunder, Mrs. Lincoln is what to say of startling nature of men and things in the White House. Indecent, scandal, White House revelations, behind the scenes, the great sensational disclosure. Some call it trash. The book about the Lincoln former slave. Read it for yourself. Mrs. Lincoln betrayed. Traitor!
When I wrote my book, my own character, as well as the character of Mrs. Lincoln, was at stake. To defend myself, I must defend the lady I served, as I was intimately associated with her during the busiest period of my life. I am accused of revealing too much about the Lincoln family, and everyone had an opinion on it. Mrs. Wells and Mrs. Brooks were astute women who mended clothes and darned socks in the White House. They knew much and said much.
Elizabeth didn't take tea for the fever. She took no nonsense from anybody. She was the only person in Washington who could get along with Mrs. Lincoln. Mrs. Lincoln was mad with anybody who talked about her or criticized the president. Only Elizabeth could calm her down.
I cannot see why Elizabeth was so criticized for writing in her book what appeared about her in the newspapers all over the country. No one spoke kindly of Miss Lincoln except for Elizabeth. Why, she almost idolized her. She made every sacrifice of her business for her, and she always covered Mrs. Lincoln's faults. She told the truth now about Miss Lincoln selling her own clothes, birds, and jewelry to make money after the president died. Her son Robert didn't like it, the old clothes scandal.
Robert Lincoln, President and Mrs. Lincoln's eldest son, and his closest friend, John Hay, completely dismissed the book.
Elizabeth Keckley, a mere servant. Well, she called on me after she wrote the book, and I was admittedly hostile towards her. I didn't understand her true motives for writing the book. She exposed stories that she had no right to tell. She wrote about mother selling her clothes, Brother Willie's death, father's assassination. How dare she? She betrayed the trust of our family.
This book
And to think that she considered Elizabeth her best friend.
This book is just a spectacle. It's trash.
Community leaders, activists, and my friends, Reverend Henry Highland Garnett and Frederick Douglass rarely miss the opportunity for commentary.
The newspapers criticized Elizabeth, but should they not have written about the brutality she experienced as a slave? She lost her only child in the God-forsaken war. They claim she owes Mrs. Lincoln an apology. But should not this country apologize to Elizabeth and ask her to forgive it for denying her freedom for over 30 years?
Do you really think, Douglas, that this country is going to apologize to you, to me, to her?
The book caused untold grief to me and mother. And to think, Elizabeth, she betrayed my family with this cheap expose. Yeah, I'm suppressing the book, and I agree with the critics. If a former slave can get away with something like this, what's to happen next?
Robert, don't worry. I guarantee that by the summer we'll hear no more about this book. Elizabeth should have stayed with the needle and not with the pen.
Mother is intolerant of disloyalty. And she can hold a grudge. My mother and I will have nothing to do with this.
The old folks said it was a great book. Uncle Ben, who says he never told a lie in his life, prophesies that someday Elizabeth would be a saint in glory, her manna handed down to generations unborn because she told the truth, as God had given her the light to see it, even if she was behind the scenes.
Elizabeth wrote a book becoming her intellect and talent. Now, her goal wasn't to betray Mrs. Lincoln, but to shed light where it belonged. The truth.
Elizabeth was my parishioner, Douglas. And you know what? We should pray for her. Bow your head with me. Dear Father, we come to you today in prayer on behalf of our dear friend, your child, and faithful servant, Miss Elizabeth Keckley. The principles of righteousness have failed to affect the hearts of those who have judged Elizabeth. Her critics demand that she be just and merciful. May you furnish her with rudder, helm, and sails, charts, and compass to weather this storm. Amen.
Amen.
I'm coming to the end of my life. I'm 89. I reside in the Home for Destitute Colored Women and Children, an organization which I helped found that educates and cares for women and children. I rarely go out except for church and weekly carriage rides as prescribed by my doctor, Rebecca Cole. I am comforted by my close friend, Anna Williams. Though poor in worldly goods, I was rich in friendships. And friends are a recompense for all of the woes of the darkest pages of life.
Is today a good day to talk about your book? The last time we spoke, you stopped abruptly and could not continue.
I do not like to burden others with the sorrows of my past. The book I wrote caused me much pain and I lost friends. My intent was to help Mrs. Lincoln, but she nor her son Robert saw it that way.
Perhaps Mrs. Lincoln was incapable of understanding your motives, Elizabeth. With her letters published in your book, she believed you disclosed secrets about her life and infringed upon her privacy. Sadly, this has brought you great disappointment and distress.
I did not give the publisher permission to publish the letters. Yet I was called a traitor and blamed for creating widespread criticism of Mrs. Lincoln. I have been judged harshly and made enemies, but I never would have put Mrs. Lincoln in an unfavorable light.
I can see the sadness is in your eyes, Elizabeth.
My book was the force that destroyed my friendship with Mrs. Lincoln. She no longer called me her best friend, but with sarcasm referred to me as the colored historian. She cast me out of her life.
I'm going to leave you now so you can rest. We'll talk again tomorrow. Perhaps one day, long after we are gone, a gifted writer such as yourself will write that, like dust and air, you rose. From a past rooted in pain, you rose. You brought the gifts of your ancestors and the dream and hope of the slave. And you rose and rose.
I thank you, Anna. Mrs. Lincoln, I did not betray you. I am a victim of injustice. I have been prideful throughout my life, but I believed in the truth and I told the truth, even though it may hurt. Was it because my skin is dark and that I was once a slave that my opinion was denounced? I was born to servitude. It is no fault of mine that I was a slave. As I honestly purchased my freedom, may I not be permitted now and then to express an opinion becoming a free woman? How could you not have forgiven me for telling the truth? I believe that none of us are perfect, for which we should heed the voice of charity when it whispers in our ears, and not magnify the imperfections of others.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
You know, the special purpose that brings us all here together today is to pay the last tribute of respect to the memory of our dear friend, Mrs. Elizabeth Keckley, who left this life on Sabbath morning. It is my privilege to be able to share with you the life of this remarkable child of God. I was Mrs. Keckley's pastor for over 30 years. I knew her well. In fact, she had once told me that I reminded her of her own son. She was in many respects a very extraordinary woman. She never failed to impress her personality upon all with whom she came in contact with. She would attract attention from everywhere with her grace and her bearing and her appearance, especially after her hair became so beautifully white. Y'all remember that?
Yes, yes.
When she entered the church, whispers of, "Here she come," would be heard. She was a woman of unusual intelligence. How she learned to read and write in the midst of slavery and the 1,001 things that were pressing upon her, I will never begin to understand. From slavery to Modiste, no amount of harsh treatment or violence could break her spirit. I feel sure with any kind of advantages, she would have distinguished herself in some line of literature. Am I right now?
Yeah.
She was a woman of remarkable energy and push. She believed in work and began very early to work and continued to work and to work as hard as she was able. It was only after age begun to creep in and she became physically and mentally unable to keep up that she was forced, I said forced, though very reluctantly, to lay aside her needle. She was generous, sympathetic, easily touched by distress or suffering. She was a philanthropist, a teacher, a Modiste, a quilter, a businesswoman, a mother, a quilter, a faithful church member. She was founder and president of the Contraband Relief Organization to benefit both freed men, women, and children. I shall always think of her with pleasure. Her memory will always be precious to me. She is now in the home of the skies, free from the infirmities of the flesh, where we shall all be if we are faithful. Amen. Someday we shall meet again, Elizabeth. And now he giveth his beloved rest.
The blood that Jesus shed for me way back on Calvary, the blood that gives me strength from day to day, it will never lose its power. Oh, it reaches to the highest mountain, and it flows to the lowest valley. The blood that gives me strength from day to day, it will never lose its power.
Thank you so much for staying with us through Elizabeth Hobbs Keckley. It is a beautiful play, and for me it's super memorable because on Juneteenth it is an opportunity for us to learn a little bit more about the histories that were never written and never given a platform for in American history. So I hope that that was an enlightening and encouraging piece for you to watch at home. Also, I wanted to highlight Gil Sotu was in the cast that we just heard a little while ago, some of his poems, spoken word. And then also the woman that played Elizabeth Hobbs Keckley was Andrea Agosto, who is a San Diego-based artist, graphic designer, photographer, and you will see her again later on. She's done some wonderful work with us and with the seniors at the center here at the Old Globe. The next thing I've got going on, before I move into our next conversation, I just want to let you all know what you've been able to do at home, which is you've contributed to our GoFundMe campaign for the 4th District Seniors Resource Center. We just passed $1,500. I'm so excited. Woo! So our goal, I'm going to say I'll call it our soft goal, is $5,000. But of course, if we could blow that out of the water, wouldn't that be an amazing, amazing testament to the work that we've been doing and to the work the 4th District Seniors Resource Center does here in the community in San Diego. So thank you all. I've seen a lot of more folks that I know. I see people sharing and passing it around and encouraging people. So please, please, please keep doing that. The Senior Center is a food distribution site here in San Diego, and they are serving our senior community every week. feeding them lunch. You can just drive on up and somebody brings it safely into the car for them. So please continue to contribute, and thanks for sticking around. We've got more. The next person I want to introduce you to is another friend, another artist and colleague, Rich Souble. He is a San Diego-based photographer. He has done a lot of work with us here at the Old Globe Theater, and really been the person who's given so much of a presence to the work that Arts Engagement does in the community in San Diego. The cool thing about Rich, aside from him being just kind of a cool, funny guy, is that he's really focused on what does it mean to be Black in this time. And this was something he was doing before COVID, before George Floyd. This is just something that came out of, I think, his own self-awareness. But I've asked him to come on to chat with us a little bit, to talk about his project and share it with us today. So I think we've got Rich hanging on, ready to go.
Hey, Karen, how are you?
I love it. I love it. I'm so happy to see you. I'm so happy you were here.
I'm so happy to be here with you guys. Thank you so much for having me.
Would you share with us just a little bit about, who you are, what you do, and
Sure.
then I want you to talk about the project.
Yeah, thank you for that great introduction. As Karen Ann said, my name is Rich Souble. I do mostly portrait and event photography all around San Diego in a variety of aspects and capacities. Weddings, corporate events, live events. As Karen Ann also stated, I've covered many live events for the Old Globe's Arts Engagement Department, to which I'm very grateful for them for having me, for giving me the opportunity to sort of flex that live event muscle, which I sorely miss in these times. I miss you guys all so very much. Yeah. But yeah, the main focus of what I do is, I guess you could call it authentic, maybe even intimate portraiture that really reflects the background and the story and sort of the width and breadth of the person that's in the image. And that's kind of what led to me taking on this project. And if you want me, I can just go into sort of the history of the genesis of the project itself. So in February, or late January, I was thinking, I just got married. I just gotten like a wonderful accolade in this professional organization I'm a part of. Shout out to the Headshot crew. And I was riding pretty high, thinking like, I need to work on a personal project. Like, personal projects are how we grow or how we expand our vision. And I thought, well, I should do something for Black History Month, something to honor the people that came before me, my mother, my father, my grandparents on both sides, all four of them. And I thought, that a lot of people are very good at talking about Black history, and that I don't need to lend my voice specifically to that, and that maybe it would be better for me to talk about the Black present, or as I like to call it, the Black presence. So I've reached out to other Black artists in the community, Black business owners, Black entrepreneurs, just to ask them a very simple question: is what is it like for you to be Black in America today? And hopefully to help us as Black people understand each other better,
right.
And to sort of shine light to the idea and the fact that, the Black community, Black culture, Black people are not a monolith, that there's as much variety and nuance within the community as there is from without. So the four people that I've worked with so far have been just amazing in that regard, and very giving and sharing of their own personal stories. So I'm just very happy to have found something like this that I'm so passionate to work on. And I'm excited to get back to it as soon as I can get back in studio. Otherwise, I'm going to have to set up a paper backdrop outside and see what we can do with the sun, because I'm itching to get back to this.
Yeah,
as
we
you
already
know.
talked about it. I got options for you. I got options. So let's talk about who are the four artists, and can we see some of those shots?
Yeah, let's bring them up, guys. There it is. So that's just an intro. That's who I am. Obviously, we already know my name. Authenticity from concept to completion sounds like sort of one of those like buzzwords that people give you, say, describe your business to me. And I've never really had something neat that does that. So I came up with that because I feel like it's really important to authentically connect with people when they trust you with their image and with their story. If you can go to the next slide, please. Thank you. My mom and my dad, Richard Charles Soublé Sr., he gave me his name. He gave me title of the second because he didn't want people calling me Junior. And my mother, Kathleen Teresa Soublé, I have to thank them before I say anything else. Because I didn't know that this journey was what I was going to go on. And, doing photography, when I first brought this to them, they're like, don't you need something steady so that you can put food on the table? So thank you, Mom and Dad, for being patient with me and giving me the time to, explore. And thank you for the privilege of the opportunity to do that as well. Next slide, please. How long have I been a photographer? You can go ahead and skip to the next slide. I think this might be the old version, actually. I've been a photographer for a very long time, as you can tell by the Fisher-Price camera on the left. I can't promise that photo on the right is the first one I've taken, but it is of my dad, and that is him playing The Legend of Zelda in probably 1989.
Fantastic. I just love that photo.
I love that.
I was like, keep that in.
I love it too. Yeah, I love it. What do I show? Yeah, this is, if you have I sent you guys an updated version of this, actually, so if you want to refresh that. But in the meantime, I can talk a little bit more about the project itself, these wonderful artists who reached out to me. Andrea Agosto, who's already been talked about here in this program. In the last presentation, a wonderful actress.
And you know what, Rich?
Of incredible range.
We just saw that one of the photos that we did already see was of Joy Yvonne Jones and her husband. And, we're actually going to be presenting later on today her play as part of the Juneteenth celebration.
I love it. We didn't plan this, guys. This is all kismet.
How it all worked out.
This is the level of connectivity you have with this sort of community, and that's what I love about San Diego arts and San Diego artists, is that there's such a genuine appreciation and love for the authenticity that people bring to the table.
So the other artists that you mentioned now that you had done some portraits with, who were some of those folks? We can talk about it.
Yeah, I'll talk about Damon Shearer, because Damon worked with, you can skip that. Yeah, that's the old info. You can skip that too. Just keep on going through. Although there is a headshot of Karen Ann Daniels in there, which I love. Keep on going. One more time. Damon Shearer, who also once worked with the Old Globe in the Arts Engagement Department.
He did.
Who's just a wonderful human being. He spoke about his international travels and his experience. And what I found really poignant about what Damon had to say was that, being Black abroad isn't the same as being Black in America. That when you visit into another culture, specifically for when he went to Japan, the words that rang truest with me were, he said, in Japan, you're either Japanese or you're not Japanese, and they don't much care about the color of your skin, which is something that really stuck out to me. And then he added to that making a concerted effort to learn and understand their culture, to speak their language, was made immediate welcome, right? And it was a very different experience for him than it was living and growing up here in the United States. Which I thought somebody from you guys was messaging me, sorry, which really struck me. And I've had a chance to travel there. They are, look at Andrea, Damon, and Devante looking so Black and beautiful. I love it. What really struck me about that was, it had never occurred to me, and I've traveled abroad too, but it never occurred to me that being a Black American has a wholly different experience, and you can have a wholly different perspective when you leave this environment. And then, of course, obviously coming from an environment like this to a completely foreign environment, and then coming back and then having to, reconcile the differences there, which is just, it was incredible. And it landed really heavily for me. Finally, that we saw in that previous slide was Devante. And I love that I got a chance to speak with him, because he highlighted something that I thought is really important to really important to the project as a whole, is that, we're more than just Black trauma, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of the media that's produced and shared and spread, movies, TV, are about the traumatic past, about slavery, about Jim Crow, about, stories of redlining.
Yep.
Most famously coming up recently are the events in Tulsa, the Tulsa Race Massacre. And there's just so much more. There's so much more. And there's so much joy to be found in being Black. And that's sort of the way that we cope with existing in that way. And he had nothing but glowing things to say about, his experience as a Black man working in an all-Black company, that he'd never really given thought to sort of the gravity and responsibility of being Black. But now as an adult, and I think this is something that we all sort of come into as we grow older, knowing exactly what it means to be out in the public, to be someone who's, for lack of a better word, in a spotlight, especially as an actor, and to what that means to the people who are watching you, to people who are, looking up to you or looking down to you, and how they'll judge you based on that.
Yeah, that's so much of a rude awakening in many ways. When you think of yourself as human, and then you start to do more things in the world, and you figure out that not everybody's seeing you the same way. So that's a hard thing, but beautiful that he can, I think, revel in being Black first, and primarily being Black being a beautiful thing. Yeah.
It reminded me of, and since we just had that beautiful presentation of from 2 years ago, after that play wrapped, because I was there shooting that event as well, some of the actors just were sitting around a table, like once the room was cleared, like all the guests had gone, and they were talking about their experiences as Black actors, here in San Diego and in other cities in California and other states here in the United States as well. And there's just a very common thread of shared experiences and similar stories. Everyone had heard that line in an audition is, "I'm sorry, but could you make it more urban for me?" And then they all have a shared laugh because they all have that same shared experience.
Yeah,
and it was just so powerful to be in that room with people.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've had that one.
Yes. Could you make it more urban, please? More urban. What does that mean?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
But yeah, and reflecting on that and wanting to get back to it is something that I've been thinking a lot about during this pandemic. And obviously with current events, with what's been happening lately, I can't photograph other people. So I've been doing a lot of self-portraits to sort of express my own feelings and I guess try to process just what's happening.
Those have been, I follow you on Instagram, so I'm tracking the evolution of Rick Soublé online, but I'm loving it.
Thank you.
Because you and I have messaged back and forth every once in a while, and that image, your images will appear in a moment where I don't have words, and I appreciate that.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't maintain this anymore because a lot of people have been telling me, like, I really appreciate your words along with the images, but I maintained for a long time that I was much better expressing myself visually than I was in writing or out loud. But the marriage of the two in this recent time is something that's a bit new for me, being able to share and write, intimate stories and personal stories and things that have happened to me and people that I know, and pairing those with images. It's been a new and a very growth experience. I love that one too.
I love it so much.
And I love when people
where your face is it's like more than one version of you kind of at the same time, like blended together.
I don't have that one in the slideshow. It is on my Instagram.
Well, y'all
go there and check it out,
Instagram,
guys.
so you can
see
photography.
There are more.
That is also very just emotive and I just love, because you were talking about this idea that Black people are not a monolith, and I really feel like that particular photo and the series of photos that I've been seeing you do really sort of, I think, gives that a more personal perspective. So
absolutely,
yeah.
Absolutely. The one that's on screen now, or that very last one, I did last night. I did not sleep last night, which is why I'm so worried right now. But I had this idea in mind to talk about performative Black masculinity and sort of like the width and breadth of what that means as you grow older as a Black man.
Right.
And I thought, tomorrow's Juneteenth, and I got to talk about the people that came before me, and I got to talk about the fighters, those who fought quite literally, and those who fought in spirit, and those who stood up and said something, and those who couldn't, and those who, all of whom survived somehow. Just so much. So if you go to that, there's a whole post in my Instagram there, and it talks about my mom, my dad, my grandparents, and all that stuff. And just,
I love it.
These are the things that, that we carry with us. And it's heavy. It's really heavy when I think on it. And I'm feeling it right now, actually.
Well, people, I mean, I think this is true with any sort of trauma-facing event that people deal with, right? But we're talking about like 400 years, and some piece of that gets passed down as things don't get resolved in the world that we find ourselves. Those things don't find a true healing place. They don't get buried for good. They don't get to find their peace. So I think, today is so much, like you said, about honoring our elders, honoring our history. But again, I think one of the reasons I really wanted to have you on here was because you wanted to talk about our presence and our present, like who we are now and how that is, animated in the world that we're currently living in and struggling with, and I think the world we're trying to reinvent. And I think that's the beautiful thing again about the evolution and the work that you're doing is that it is catching us in process, right? It's catching us in process in this moment.
Yes.
Yeah, it's really beautiful.
And it's funny that you led right into that right at the end there. I've been talking to my parents a lot lately, just because my mother called me to make sure that I wasn't out there in the streets starting the revolution. These were her words. These were her exact words. And I said, Mom, I'm at the protests, but I'm being safe. Don't worry about me, because that's what mothers do.
That is.
Especially Black mothers, as we all know.
Oh man.
And I asked my dad about just everything about his experiences, and he told me some stories about, the overt cartoonish racist stories that we've all heard, and the more subtle racist stories that we've all heard. And that he's like, I'm tired, man. I'm tired. And he says to me, but I can see that you're not. So don't get tired, like stay hungry, don't get broken, keep yourself together, take care of yourself, protect your mental health, protect those around you, and keep on keeping on.
I think we have the same dad.
We got to make a better world, right?
But no, it's true. I think that's actually just to say this idea about taking care of yourself is a really vital part of, I think, today, about what we're the moment we find ourselves in, the movement that is growing again, and that I think it's just so important for us all to remember to take care of ourselves and to take care of each other. Rich, I'm so appreciative. Thank you so much for coming on today and sharing your art, sharing your voice, and just, again, I'm going to keep borrowing Gil's in love. Thank you so much for being part of this community and part of this Juneteenth celebration. And before you go, I just want to share with you, and I want to share with everybody else, that we are at $1,844. And that makes me so
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Okay, but before you
go,
can you share with everybody where they can find out, follow you if you want people to follow you? I don't even know. Or your website,
Sure.
that'd be cool.
Yeah, the website is richshoots.com. That's why I put it in a slide. Look at me being prepared. You can go there. You can sign up for my newsletter. You can get information there. You can also follow me on all social media. You can Google Rich Souble. There's a million ways to find me. But the one that I update the most is my Instagram, and that's Rich Souble Photography. I update that every single day. I'm loud, and I'm Black, and I'm proud about it.
Amen. Amen, amen, amen. Thank you so much, Rich. Hopefully I'll see you soon.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
Yes, I hope so.
And for all of you out there, this is a great moment for us to, I think, dig in a little bit more about this idea of Black presence and what does it mean to be Black, because I know not everybody understands. Sometimes even I don't. And so we went out to the Senior Center to get some stories and to get some perspective from their point of view.
My hope for Juneteenth is that it becomes a really focal point of equality. Now, for instance, I'm a little hurt because our president is choosing to go to a place where rioting was very big. Blacks were killed 99 years ago. Why is he going to go to Tulsa? This is to empower his goal, not to pay homage or whatever to what has happened in the past. So things are happening, and sometimes people will do things and want us, the blacks, to feel like, I'm doing you a favor, when actually you're not.
You know, Kathy is making a very strong point. There is so much. You're looking, for instance, at how Officer Chauvin killed George Floyd, and you're aghast. But I'm going to tell you, there's a big history of black people being killed, boiling them, hanging them, beating them. So the abuse that you're seeing now is an extension of the abuse that we have always suffered in this country. So that's why, you know, we're tired of that. We're tired of dying. We're tired of being abused. We're tired of our rights being taken away and disrespected. Here we are in 2020, and we're still really not free. We're still really not equal. We're not treated equally. And you know, you really have to be upset about that. This is why people are out protesting and demanding rights. A lot of people think, oh, you should be okay with, you know, the way that it is. But from 1863 until now, and we're still fighting the same battle. But one of the things that I learned, a civil rights leader in San Diego in the 50s and 60s, he was the president of the NAACP, and people used to come to our home in the 50s. I remember who were civil rights leaders, when they came to San Diego, they would come to our home and meet. But one of the things that we have to remember when people say, why haven't you made more progress in all of these years, is that as hard as we are fighting for progress, there are those people who are fighting to maintain the status quo. You saw people on Facebook laughing and mimicking how Chauvin killed George Floyd. They're laughing about putting their knee on someone's neck. They think that's a big joke, and that's our future. So those are the people who are coming up, who plan to disrespect, who could not care less. We are going to be faced with them, and it's generational. Their parents are teaching that. So as hard as we're fighting for rights, and you would think that from 1863 until 2020, we would not have to be fighting the same fight that our fathers and grandfathers and great-grandfathers fought. It should be over by now. When you see people in the street, you know, they're just tired. And now with the pandemic and everybody being at home and being forced to see the killing of Aubrey over and over again, Ahmaud over and over again, and you know about, you know, so many, Breonna Taylor, but I mean, this has been going on.
Right.
Kids getting shot unnecessarily, abuse when you're arresting someone. Even the president said, don't be so careful when you're putting them in the car. Slam their head up. I mean, come on now. Slam their head up against the side of the car in 2019.
My great-grandmother, who was an actual slave brought over on slave ships and survived, she was being punished during just about the time of the Emancipation Proclamation, and she was thrown in a barn, 3 days not having food or water, having to drink her own urine to survive, with rats and everything. And when the Emancipation Proclamation was signed, her brothers came to the barn where she was and ripped off the boards, and he called out to her, Raya, we're not slaves anymore. Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves. But then a new kind of slavery happened because slaves had no way of making a living. Their slave hunters were still out, bringing them back to the plantation, and they were treated even worse then. You know, so why tell me I'm grown and I can't make grown-up decisions? This is kind of the way it is.
Being in San Diego and being in elementary school in the 50s, we were taught slave songs, and we sang, you know, oh Lordy, pick a bale of cotton, oh Lordy, pick a bale a day. And we were taught that the slaves were happy, and they sang these songs because they were happy with the life that they had, and I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
And I can still remember those songs. I just sang a little bit. Oh Lordy, pick a bale of cotton. Oh Lord, gonna pick a bale of cotton. We had no idea, but that's what we were taught in school. So the intensity of what really happened, I don't know that the people that were teaching us really knew, because this was really kept away from us. And I remember when I read I was in college, and I read the autobiography of Malcolm X, and it opened up my eyes, and I became so angry, because that was my first real exposure. My father and the civil rights movement, they were really talking more about trying to blend in, assimilation. You get your education, you speak properly, you wear the right clothes, and try to mix in, and then the people that mix in, that's where you get this statement about people trying to act white.
Yes.
Well, basically, that's what we were trying to do. Act white, talk white, so that maybe they would accept you if you sounded and talked like them, even though your skin was black. And it's kind of like this might even be ahead of your time, when women were being accepted into the workplace, they wanted us to wear suits and little ties. We're like men.
Yes.
And so that we could, because we looked more like men, anything that was beautiful or sexual or anything, like get rid of all of that, wear a shirt like men wore. So over my whole life, I've seen where they rob you of your individuality. They rob you of being who you are, because who you are is not acceptable. Right. Who you are is just not acceptable. And just imagine living your whole life, and you probably have experienced some point in life where you were told who you are is not good enough, so we have to abuse you. You're worthy of being abused, and we've given you all we need to give you. So it's deep. It's very, very deep. And here we are, so many generations away from that, and it's still hard. It's still not fair. It's still not equal. We still don't have the kind of respect. And here we are in 2020, watching little white boys playing out and laughing about someone getting killed, and listening to the court system justify that. And then the police lying about it, turning off their cameras when they're getting ready to go do something they know they're not supposed to do. So I'm hoping that what's going to happen is, if you ever turn in a report and you don't have a camera, your body cam was not turned on, that you're going to lose $1,000 out of your paycheck.
You know, as a little girl, I was about 10 or 11, and I was at a 5 and dime store, Kresge's, in South Carolina. It was Crest, S&H Crest. And I wanted to buy a little bottle of nail polish, and I think it was 29 cents. I stood by the counter, and I waited, and the cashier went around me, and she brought the white customer up front and accepted their money, and I was waiting right there. She brought everybody to the front, leaving me standing there. And in my little self, I got frustrated and decided, okay, if she doesn't want to take my money, I'll just take it. So I took it and I went home. But thank God I had a mother with some superior values and some good sense. And I told her the story, and she said, now, you take that polish that you did not pay for and take it right back to that store. That was humiliating, but I grew so much from that incident. And so I don't want to take what's not mine. I have to learn how to reach across the aisles to people who are a little different, hear slander, but not act out violently. I have to lead a double life, and most blacks do lead double lives because, like Dee said, we want to be accepted. We try to act like they want us to act, and then when we go into the privacy of our own homes, hair down, but we're guarded. You have to live a guarded life. And maybe Juneteenth will allow us eventually to take the guards down, to go on and be free, really free.
I hope we see that in our lifetime.
I pray so.
You know, but my children they're already fighting the same fight their great-great-grandfather fought and beyond. So there's a lot of work to do. The struggle truly continues.
Yes. The struggle still continues. The next thing that we have for you today kind of jumps off at this point. You know, we couldn't do Juneteenth today and not acknowledge all that has been happening in our country and in our world over the last few weeks. The next play that we're going to show you was written by Ebony Harvey, who's a local San Diego filmmaker. Back in 2018 for the Powers New Voices Festival, our community celebration day, we did a reading of Ebony's play, which is called Dissecting Fortune. And in this play, it does touch on how an everyday interaction can turn into something extremely dangerous. So please sit down for about the next 10 minutes or so and take some time to watch Dissecting Fortune.
Dissecting Fortune by Ebony Harvey. Characters: Ebony, Eb, Officer A, Officer B, Officer C. Setting: it's early evening in San Diego, California. At Rise, Ebony is walking home from a local market where she bought herself some snacks that she's carrying in a small bag. Suddenly, before she makes it to the entrance of her apartment building, she is approached by an officer.
Where are you coming from?
The store. Ebony attempts to walk around the officer, but he steps in her path that is to save her from walking into danger.
Miss, there's some criminal activity going on in the area. It's best that I advise you to get to your destination quickly.
Oh, thanks, officer. Appreciate it. The officer steps out of Ebony's path. She takes her keys out of her pocket, goes inside, and sits on the steps.
Wow. But first I advise you. It would have been nice if that's how it really happened that night, but it's not. Now to think of it, so many other things could have happened.
She pauses for a moment, places her hand on her head as if she's becoming overwhelmed. Eb is coming from a nearby convenience store and is juggling food items in her hand. She is suddenly approached and questioned by Officer A.
Where are you coming from?
The store.
The officer follows behind and says something inaudible to his head. Eb shifts all of the food around in her left arm and puts her right hand inside her jean pocket. As she walks around the corner, Officer B and C approach aggressively with their hands on their holsters.
Hands where we can see them, don't move.
Eb becomes halt and freezes.
Put the food on the ground.
Eb places all of her items down. Her right hand is delayed from her keys getting caught in her pocket. Officer C approaches her with his hand on his holster and proceeds to handcuff her.
What's going on?
Can we get an ID on the subject?
Subject? Why am I being handcuffed?
All officers ignore Eb's questions. Ebony begins listening closely on the other side of the door.
What's your name?
Ebony Harvey.
Where are you headed?
Home, sir.
Where is home?
Right here.
What's right here? What is this?
Sir, I live right here. This is my front door.
Ebony motions at the door with her head. Officer looks up and around the building suspiciously.
Sir, my apartment is at the top of these storefront businesses.
1078. ID on suspect.
Suspect? I didn't do anything. Can you please tell me what this is about? Why am I in handcuffs? Am I being arrested?
You fit the description of a suspect.
Description?
Ebony is growing increasingly worried and visibly anxious on the other side of the door as officers continue questioning Eb.
What's your birth date?
June 4th, 1980.
Tattoos, scars, and where are they?
I have a scar on the right side of my face near my temple, and I have a tattoo of an angel on the left side of my torso.
What's your social security number?
What?
What do you mean, what? What is your social security number?
Officer, I don't believe I need to give you that information.
I believe you do. Now you can either tell me here or I can lock you up and find out anyway.
You don't have to say shit, Eb. Wait, No, I don't think you should give him that, Eb. Don't do it.
I don't feel comfortable giving you that information.
Have it your way.
Officer B becomes aggressive and puts Eb on the ground with the assistance of Officers A and C. She is placed in a chokehold.
All you had to do...
He increases his hold as the other officers apply pressure to her back and legs.
I didn't do anything!
She struggles to maneuver into a different position.
You should have answered the question.
I can't breathe!
Oh, yeah?
Ebony begins banging on the door.
Stop it! This isn't right! This isn't right! Go back!
Ebony presses her hand over her face and the lights go out. End of scene. Ebony looks over to her right as Eb re-enters stage right. She is juggling food items in her arms when she is approached by Officer A. Ebony immediately looks concerned.
Where are you coming from?
The store?
1029.
Officers B and C approach aggressively with their hands on their holsters.
Freeze! Hands up!
Officers point their gun at Eb and she drops all her items. She attempts to put her hands up, but her right hand is delayed from her keys getting caught in her pocket.
She has a weapon!
No, don't!
Officer B shoots a single shot.
Pa!
Eb falls to the ground. Ebony, Officers A, B, and C all freeze. They approach Eb's body and kick the food items away from her as if they were some sort of weapon. Ebony frantically crouches down and looks through the mail slip in the door. She sees Eb's body lying lifeless on the ground.
No! No! What did you do? This isn't right. This isn't right! Go back!
Ebony bangs on the door 3 times. End scene. Ebony sits back on steps, taking slow, deep breaths. She looks to her right and sees Eb alive and handcuffed, being questioned by the officers.
You fit the description of a suspect.
Description?
What's your birthday?
June 4th, 1980.
Tattoos, scars, and where are they?
I have a scar on the right side of my face near my temple, and I have a tattoo of an angel on the left side of my torso.
What's your social security number?
What?
What do you mean, what? What is your social security number?
Officer, I don't believe I need to give you that information.
I believe you do. Now you can either tell me here or I can lock you up and find out anyway.
Did we ID the suspect?
But I didn't do anything. I just came from the store. I have a receipt in my pocket. On the right, you can check.
Officer C retrieves receipt, walks a few steps away, and begins talking on his radio.
What is your social security number?
Just do it, Eb. Please.
604-47-1009.
Everything matches up. If you'd listen to your radio, it's a negative. What's your eye color?
Dark brown.
If you'd listen to your radio, it's a negative. Okay!
I'm gonna remove the cuffs.
Officer A removes the cuffs.
Keep your hands on your head.
Eb.
You can go.
Eb hesitates. She picks up her food items, unlocks the door, walks inside, and collapses crying. Ebony looks at Eb and then reaches out and touches her shoulder.
You didn't even say sorry.
End of cut.
Dissecting Fortune by Ebony Harvey. I actually had the privilege of directing that reading of Dissecting Fortune, and I know from conversations with Ebony that what you just saw was a fictionalized version of an actual encounter that happened to her. And I think following that event, she needed to sit down and watch, process what had happened to her, and how quickly we go from, I went to the store to get Doritos, to suddenly finding yourself face on the ground with handcuffs behind your back. And this is a very common story that, as we know, has worse and worse and worse endings as time has gone on. So thank you all for making time today to sit in these few moments to process. This is one part of what it means to be Black. The other part means that we also have to find our ability to survive and to strive and to thrive. And so this next thing that we're going to watch is actually a premiere video from our teaching artist, Kendrick Dial, called Y'all Mad. Enjoy.
When we march, y'all mad. We sit down, y'all mad. We speak up, y'all mad. When we die outside, and when we march, y'all mad. We sit down, y'all mad. We speak up, y'all mad. When we die outside. The year was 2020, a year so unlike many. The ups and downs that came around in such a tiny time span. It's enough to blow your mind, man. Here we go again, another brother hunted, and he was just running. But don't you dare lie, cause the beat's not funny. Could've been my friend, could've been my homie, could've been my family, the whole hood. Hot damn, the pain and loss and grief, I'm seeing us slain in these streets when we protesting for peace. So I can walk and I can breathe. Hey! Simply wear my hoodie, no system trying to bully. Let me run and simply be, and I get profiled on these streets. All suspects don't look like me. How we prisoners when we free? Feel like no life and liberty. Seems like we can't get no peace. Well, ain't that a be? I hope y'all ready, can't live like this. We march, y'all mad. We sit down, y'all mad. We speak up, y'all mad. But when we die outside and when we march, y'all mad. We sit down, y'all mad. We speak up, y'all mad. But when we die outside, I ain't playing with y'all. Oh no, hell no. I ain't playing with y'all. Oh no, hell no. I ain't playing with y'all. Oh no, hell no. I ain't playing with y'all.
An enemy has returned.
Another morning with quarantina. Still my skin's a misdemeanor. All the various shades, I mean, whatever you could have dreamed of. But now we back. And watch my tag, I ain't even brought up, you little funky redhead. Funny how the hass and hatred have the same connotation. So for Becky, Susan, Karen, get off your phone, mind your business. Just going back home, wash your own dishes, fix your own mess. You got a whole glass ceiling. But yet and still, we can't even feel our feelings, cause whenever you come around, black folks stop. When we march, we sit down, we speak up, but when we die outside, and when we march, we sit down, we speak up, but when we die outside, and when we march, y'all mad, we sit down, y'all mad, we speak up, y'all mad, but when we die outside, and when we march, y'all mad, we sit down, y'all mad, we speak up, but when we die outside, I ain't playing with y'all, oh no, hell no. I ain't playing with y'all, oh no, hell no. I ain't playing with y'all, oh no, hell no. I ain't playing with y'all, oh no, hell no.
Awesome. That was Y'all Mad. And I'm actually going to be joined right now by one of the people that helped to create that video and that song. And his name is Elbert Waldhauer. And Elbert, are you there? You hanging out? What's going on?
Oh, I'm here. I'm here, excited to celebrate with you and be here today with you. How you doing today?
I'm good, man. You know, I just figured out and just realized that Ebony Harvey, whose play we just did, also showed, actually worked on this as well. So
yes,
everything is connected.
Yes, it so is. It's all one big thing.
Yeah. So talk to me about, you know, how you got into this project with Kendrick and just, you know, like, tell me what it's about, man.
Indeed. Well, Y'all Mad is a movement. It's what we like to say is the the start and the progression of the solution to the conversation of police brutality, right? And so it started off as a song that Kendrick sent me, ironically, on Instagram. In a message, he said, "I got this idea. Hey, what do you think about it?" And I basically heard it. I said, "I love the idea. It's perfect for it." It was before the passing of George Floyd, before the incident, and it just so happened that the incident happened. Our voices needed to be raised, and the song it spoke perfectly to the situation. And we came up with this phrase, "Y'all mad." You know, anything that we do, y'all mad. But when we die, you guys are silent. So we wanted to start the conversation in a positive light to see how we can come up with a solution for police brutality.
That's awesome. That's, you know, that's like that thing when like great ideas kind of come together in like those strange moments like that, where you just like say, you know, slip somebody a little note, like, "I had this crazy idea," you know.
Yeah, indeed.
And then you get to just kind of like jump onto it. I love it. I love the video. I also just happen to love that my house is featured in it. Just saying.
Yes, it was amazing. It was amazing.
But no, I just feel like this moment, you know, we talk a lot about saying the names of folks.
Yes.
And, you know, in the video we point to, there's sort of two sets of names, right? There's like the name of the Black folks who have been killed and murdered, right? And then we've also got our shorthand names for some other folks in there.
Yes.
So, you know, like, why is it important to pair those things together in this moment?
You know, the conflict at large, right? We all know that Black Lives Matter. But the conversation has to evolve after we deal with our anger. And so the importance to show the unity, right, instead of the division that's happening in the protest is so important and vital because like we're celebrating Juneteenth today, and we're talking about our freedom and our rights that, you know, our ancestors and people before us fought for, right? And so the fact that we have this opportunity to speak up, to come together as one, to kind of show, even though there's still bad in the world, that everything, like some of Dr. King's his dream speech was come to fruition when we look at these protests, you know, Black and white standing together, the Muslim community coming out to support around the world, in New Zealand, in China, in Africa, these protests everywhere around the world. It shows that there's progress. There's still a conversation that needs to be had and some more steps that need to be taken, but it's happening. And so, you know, that's why this conversation is going to continue to, we wanted to take the narrative in charge of ourselves and start the solution already after the anger goes away.
I mean, I love that because I really feel like I was having a conversation with somebody else like a week ago, and they were talking about, you know, I really feel like I'm finally starting to understand what's going on and like how I need to participate in it. And I kind of said, you know, y'all have been sitting in the waiting room and we've been waiting for you to
do something.
Right? Like, and so these last few weeks have really, I think, shown me that there are other people in the world who see and are starting to understand that, you know, freedom, this isn't just about one person or one color, that this is actually impacting all of our abilities to thrive in this world. So I'm just super happy that that you guys got together and that you acted on creating this song and creating this video and just, you know, bring in a different angle to the message than maybe the sort of polarized one that we commonly hear in the media. Because that is not, from my perspective, that's not what I'm after. I'm like, I want my brothers and sisters everywhere to come up beside me and grab my hand and walk together through this.
And we saw that, and you know, like you said, we there's bad to everything, and there's good. And when we look out there, like in the video, for instance, we touched to that in the kitchen scene. He was saying, I'm I'm not playing with y'all all no. And then all of a sudden we zoom into don't be silent.
Yeah.
Because we're trying to say to everyone, you know, this, yes, it's a Black Lives Matter, but don't be silent if you see your friend, you know, projecting, you know, bad stereotypes or doing racism, you know, practicing privilege or whatever, however you want to pose it. So we're just trying to get the message across in a positive way. And it's so good to see conversations like that happening around the world. We know that there's hate being spewed on mainstream media all day. We can see it on our Facebook feeds, our Instagram feeds, and all of our various different media bubbles, you know, as African Americans, Caucasians, we all see different things, but we have to remember what we see on a regular basis in life. You know, when you go to work at Google or you go to work at the Old Globe or you go to work at Cox Communications, like you are seeing different nationalities and you're working together to build things. And we need to just take a little bit of that common respect in the workplace, bring that home, you know, bring that to our communities, bring that to our families, you know, so, you know, don't have more respect for people that you work with than you do for your own community sometimes, you know, and we just have to remember to love one another like that and start that conversation.
Amen. Oh man, I'm so happy that you were able to be with us today and just to help us celebrate and just, you know, it's just good. It's good to meet you. I'm excited to actually meet you in person someday.
Yes, indeed, indeed.
And yeah, well, so we'll say goodbye for everybody that's, you know, tuning in. We're about to kind of take a break in a minute, and I'm going to close this out with this first 2 hours. I can't believe it's been 2 hours of our Juneteenth celebration. I'm going to close you out with a song, and the song that I'm going to sing actually comes from another work that we created and co-created with the seniors at the 4th District Center. Last year's Juneteenth, so a year ago, we actually premiered the musical The Ruby and Us, which I helped to create with the seniors there. And so I thought I'd sing for you something that for me really speaks to the journey and the longevity of the journey that Black folks have been on. And so it's called the same as the show, The Ruby and Us. And actually, I forgot something. Apologies. Here we go. All right. And in the show, just so you all know, this would have been sung by the choir of the community. And then there's another section in the center of it that would have been sung by a young Ruby. And I think you'll know when I get there. This is our story, no shame, only glory, of people who tried just to love. Don't say goodbye, just say hello. We live and we learn and we grow. There's a road no one's traveled before, and I dream of a day no one ever will. One foot first, then another she goes, taking her time, her stride, that massive affair. My children, oh children, the battle was won, but the war will go on. Each day we must find the ruby in us. We must step in to every moment with strength and faith and courage every day. We must believe it can be done. 'Cause there's always another battle to be won. It all makes sense to me now. I finally think I understand. Everything that's happened has always been out of my hand. Could have been something I said or done, but it wouldn't change a thing. 'Cause you do what you're told when you're only 6 years old. I wish I'd known from the start the things that lie in the human heart. This is our story, no shame, only glory, of people who tried just to love. Don't say goodbye, just say hello. We live and we learn and we grow. We grow. There's a road no one's traveled before, and I dream of a day no one ever will. Again. See you guys in about 5 minutes.
Step in the spot, 'cause black girls rock. Hotter than July with the twist in the lock, 'cause black girls rock. We handling our biz on the rise to the top, 'cause black girls rock. And we gon' tell it like it is, whether you like it or not.
Yo, 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 we rock like Gibraltar, Enterprise, Carter, red bone, caramel chocolate, just for starters. Every single shade of the beautiful hue. Thick lips, big hips, we make it do what it do. Taking two from the crew, just presenting the truth. You could hate if you want, but the loser is you. Kinky head, don't care what the privilege. Other chicks wanna be queens, ain't got no membership. Emulating authentic, fake this, fake that. What type of chick is this? Black girls feel the rhythm, you can feel it in our walk, in our talk, in our style, in our presence. Love the skin that I'm in, check the rhyme. I rock like a Chevy T-top in 89. Call me just to say that I'm part of a rare breed. Only woman who could ever bear a black seed. That's me, and I never go pop. 'Cause black girls rock.
We looking fly when we step in the spot, 'cause black girls rock. Hotter than July with the twist in the lock, 'cause black girls rock. We handling our biz on the rise to the top, 'cause black girls rock. And we gon' tell it like it is, whether you like it or not. Whether you like it or not. Super solstice, brighter than the summer solstice. She's a keeper deeper than a soul kiss. Take notice to the tats around her wrist. She been through some shit, sometimes she reminisce over crew that got lost in this apocalypse. Instead of following the same path, she took the opposite. Found confidence underneath the hurt, trying to prove her worth. Precious jewel of the earth. She put in work, gave birth to civilization. Scars on her back from building a nation. She got dreams, so she chill and be patient. Plus she walk like a queen, so some bitches be hating. Hair immaculate, style never lacking it. Even when the dough is low, she look like she's stacking it. Sweet as saccharin, sugar-coated chocolate dry. Black girls rock. We ain't popular, man. We don't floss for the gram. We don't mumble when we rap, ain't got no popular dance. But we poppin' in France. We reading vodka and cans. Don't judge us unless you had a chance to walk in our van. We just travel the land with a mic in our hand. White people standing close thinking they might get a tan. 'Cause we hot as the sun, vibing on another level. 93 million miles above these devils. We looking fly when we step in the spot, 'cause black girls rock. Hotter than July with the twist in the lock, 'cause black girls rock. We handling our biz on the rise to the top, 'cause black girls rock. And we gon' tell it like it is, whether you like it or not. Whether you like it or not. Black girl, rock, rock on. Black girl, rock, rock on. Black queen, rock, rock on. Black queen, rock, rock on.
My blackness gives me power. My blackness blackness makes me dance. My people, it's our hour. God people, it's our chance. I know that we can do it. Good people, here's our chance. My blackness gives me power. My blackness makes me dance. The doors are now open when you come on in. Hope that you are ready. I know that we can win. The planets are aligned. Right now is the right time. Open up your hearts and let that love light shine. Yeah.
Come on, y'all. I wanna dance the night away. So what you say? Tell me, are you ready to make your people proud today? Now's the time we strut our stuff, freely innovate. That's what we known for. So get up out your seat and represent.
My blackness gives me power. My blackness makes me dance. My people, it's our hour. God people, it's our chance. I know that we can do it. Good people, here's our chance. My blackness gives me power. My blackness makes me dance. Why won't you be you? It's not hard to do. Easier done than said.
Hey, I'm Kendrick Dowell. I'm here at the George L. Stevens Senior Center on behalf of the Old Globe.
I have the lovely Miss Rosemary here today as we explore the topic of Juneteenth. And so, how you doing, Miss Rosemary?
I'm great. I am fantastic, and I'm eagerly, and I was just thrust into the new norm. So,
Right.
welcome to the George L. Stevens Senior Center, to the new norm. Must see. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, thank you. So could you start off by telling us a little bit about the collaboration between the Old Globe and the Senior Center?
Oh, it's like love and marriage. We go together like a horse and a carriage. It's been a beautiful, beautiful partnership with the Old Globe. About 5 or 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
And the part that's so meaningful to us in the 4th District is that you've brought the theater and the arts to our community. Several of the plays have been right here at the George L. Stevens Senior Center, and it speaks volumes to the knowledge and the education of the arts, the fine arts that we have been able to share with the seniors in the 4th District. So I always said this is the best thing since sliced bread to our community.
Right. So I know as somebody who gets to come in here and work with you all, it's a great experience for me because it helps me understand a lot about your experiences, the impact of the world and the world as you've seen it growing up. But I'm also curious about what is the impact, has it been, for you to be able to actually partake into some of the productions and things of that nature?
As far as with the Old Globe, most definitely. Right, 1 year ago this month, the Ruby and Us,
Yes.
the actual play
Yes.
was performed here as part of our Juneteenth celebration.
Yes.
And it went over fantastic.
Hold on, Ms. Ripper, you stop. You got people come in. Come on.
Well, it's fish dinners. We always have fish on Fridays, yes.
They provide a lot of different sources for the community, so we invite you to come on down. As always, they are providing meals for their Fish Fry Fridays, so they're practicing being socially distanced, so everything is safe. But it's always good to connect with community, so come on down and support the George L. Stevens Senior Resource Center.
Hey, welcome back to the Old Globe's Arts Engagements Juneteenth celebration. For those of you that have been hanging with us for the last 2 hours, we have been looking at some of the traditions for Juneteenth. Also our tradition with the 4th District Seniors Resource Center around Juneteenth, some work that's been created, some amazing artists that are here in San Diego. And we've also been primarily raising money to help fund the 4th District Seniors Resource Center in Southeast San Diego. And thus far, in the last 2 hours, we were able to raise $2,095. That's about $1,000 an hour. And that is super awesome. And I'm so excited and I'm so grateful for all of you out there who are giving $10, $15, whatever it is that you can, because every little bit helps. The 4th District Senior Resource Center, in that video you just saw, they also do food distribution during the COVID universe right now, but they also do that as a primary part of the work that happens there at the Senior Center. They also offer exercise classes, and of course the Old Globe works with them there as well, and we co-create new plays in the Arts Engagements Collab program. So thank you to everybody. I see some folks from our Globe community. Thank you. From artists in the community. Thank you. From some of our donors and just amazing folks who just love the work that we're doing. And again, thank you for being part of it. The next thing we're going to go right into now is I want you to meet a friend of mine who is another native San Diegan, just like I am. Yes, we exist out there. And, you know, with all the activity that's been happening in the last few weeks, Brian had a particular message that I think we all should just take a moment to share that is very specific to being in San Diego. So here we go. Solidarity.
I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. Okay, Ocean Beach? I love you and I see you, Ocean Beach. I see your compassion. I see your love. I see your empathy. But I also grew up here. So when I say I see you, I see both sides. I remember coming to parties here and hearing, don't let him in. Don't let that nigga in. And I also remember my friends who didn't say anything. Not just my friends, but everybody inside that house who let him, who was in the majority, he's among his friends, right? So he can say whatever he wants. But they didn't speak up. That's cowardly actions. And cowardly actions is how we got to this point right now. If you do not speak up, you are being complicit. Okay? When we say Black Lives Matter, we say it because you've shown us time and time again that we do not matter. When Michael Brown was shot and killed in the streets, a kid, for selling cigarettes, and the whole world argued whether or not he deserved to live, you showed us, you showed me that my life didn't matter. When Tamir Rice, a 9-year-old kid, was shot within 6 seconds of the police coming there, and y'all still argued about his life, you showed me once again that my life didn't matter. And when I saw one video of a turtle with a straw in his nose and y'all went to action, you showed me that my life meant nothing. It meant less than him. He's still alive. Y'all helped him. And you made actions. You made sure that straws didn't happen, single-use plastics didn't happen. I love that. I love that compassion. But that's where we're at right now. Where's that change for us? We on a good movement. I feel the love. I feel the energy. And you being out here right now is proof of that. It's proof.
Brian, I just have to say thank you for coming today. We are joined by Brian Barber, who's a local actor. And also, he's got his own amazing band called The Routine. Brian grew up here. How you doing, man?
Freedom Day.
Oops, hang on, I've got a little technical difficulty happening.
Yeah, I clicked the link. It was actually.
There you go. All right.
They were like, what?
Anyhow, so Brian and I actually met years ago doing work at the Lambs Players Theater in Coronado. I know Brian is born and raised here in San Diego, just like I am. And I think that one of the things I really wanted to have is a conversation that is really particular to what it means to be Black and to be growing up in San Diego. And in particularly, I think, in the arts community. The experience coming up from a young person and trying to get into it professionally, I think, has had particular challenges in terms of the kind of work that we do sometimes, the way the work is curated. And I think that Brian and I have a really just a singular perspective on that. So as soon as we get him up, we'll have a quick conversation about that. Also, is he up? Oh, right on. Brian,
am I up?
there?
Can you see me?
Yes!
To the walls.
I love it. Man, how you doing today?
I'm doing good.
Happy Juneteenth.
Yeah, happy Juneteenth. It's like the busiest and most celebrated Juneteenth I've ever experienced.
Ever. Okay, so before we get any further, did you know about Juneteenth growing up?
Yeah. Well, I mean, growing up, we learned about it. It wasn't like we didn't celebrate it. It wasn't like, yeah, it's Juneteenth Day, but like my dad would always mention it. We would always talk about it, but we knew that's as far as it was going to get. like we didn't go and wear dashikis on that day or anything like that. It was just it was an irrelevant holiday. I mean, it was an irrelevant holiday in June 1st. It was an irrelevant holiday. So it's crazy that it's so packed right now, and I love it. That's like it should be. It's independence, right? We love to celebrate independence. Why not this one?
I was just gonna say, I feel like this is such a milestone in our history, right? Like as Americans, that it feels weird that it is not something that had been lauded, right?
Yeah, especially because we like to celebrate like Cinco de Mayo, which means nothing, but we put sombreros on and drink Coronas and eat tacos all day. That's can we not just have some bourbon and listen to Duke Ellington? Like, is that not what we want right now?
Yes.
Like, you're welcome, everybody. You're welcome. Let's celebrate.
You can listen to Duke. I'm going to spin some Nina, a little bit of
Ella, I mean, there should be nothing but Nina's face on TV all day long. Like, that's all you should look, and she's just looking beautiful. Like, remember this. Like, you were so mean to me, and now remember my beauty and my strength. Look at me. Look at me in the face.
Yes.
It should be.
Sometimes, you kind of feel like that in the world.
I know it. I know it.
What I was saying before you got on, it's just that growing up in San Diego, and I know you did too, we both grew up here. I grew up in the South Bay. I actually grew up south of Chula Vista.
All right.
Yeah.
It's my neighborhoods, though.
I just feel like, one of the things that I've always felt like that kinship with you about is the fact that, growing up Black in SD.
Yeah, for sure.
And
for sure. Well, yeah, it's just different than anywhere else. It just is, And when I hear you music that you write and like your style of comedy, we did that the other day of that reading you came on. I was like, that's so me. It's so me. Like I see myself in you so often, in your work because it's. You had to work so hard at being an individual, and that's just what it was. No matter where you went, you were a little different, and that's something that in the arts community will help you grow, or it will eat you alive. I'm not sure which one it is, but it's something that a little bit of both. Yeah, it's I mean, the only way you can grow is when it eats you alive, I guess, inside. Yeah. But that's something that I recognize when I see young people coming into the community. I always make sure to reach out and say, hey, like things are gonna be rough. Like audition for everything that you're not even right for, like audition for it, because if they can't see you in that position, they will never ever cast you in it. Yeah. The thought will never cross their mind until you show up and they say, oh, whoa, hey, maybe, but not always, but maybe.
I mean, there's nothing to lose anymore.
There is nothing to lose.
You're like, well, I know you're probably looking for a blonde ingenue, but not me today.
Yeah, I'll show up to the vagina monologues. All right, I will, because I need to learn that monologue. It's very important, and I need to. It's like I'll show up to them.
Yeah.
Just because.
I love it, man. You know, the video we showed, Solidarity. You know, one of the reasons I asked you to come on, in addition to the San Diego thing, was just that I heard about this video and felt, that you really had addressed something that maybe I just never felt brave enough to say out loud, being a San Diegan. And I just felt, again, I keep using the word kinship, but that's exactly what it is, and just honored that somebody felt strong enough to do that. But can you talk to me about, just really quickly, like, how did that come about, man?
Yeah, a friend of mine asked me to come out and speak, and I had very mixed feelings about it. It being a paddle out and stuff like that. I just sometimes people like to show acts of faith and kindness, but don't actually like to do works, and that's a frustrating thing. And I have always been in the boat of, I'm an entertainer. I want to be able to separate you from your reality. Like, that's my entire goal since I was a kid. That's all I've wanted to do, is to entertain people. And I've just heard so many crazy arguments over the years about people's rights and about this and about that, and you shouldn't shut up and dribble and all this stuff. And I'm like, the fact that you can't, like, you can step away for this at this moment, like, great, but like, these players can't. Like, these players go home, and that's with them. It's like these theater communities that you love to go see, like back in 2008 when we were all fighting, or 2006 when we were all fighting for gay rights. It's like, y'all, half these people are gay, and you're out here enjoying their entertainment, and you're enjoying their you're celebrating them without trying to actually celebrate them. And that's something I felt, without trying to love them. And that's what I felt, a little bit about OB is like, they're about love and peace and stuff like that. But it's like, you saw the action that they did when they saw one video of a turtle. Like, y'all, they made actions and laws, and they showed you how easy it was to do that. And you look at right now what's going on with the branding, like Band-Aids. Yeah, I feel it. That's what it is. It's like, it's so easy. Band-Aid's got a brown Band-Aid. How easy was that? They knew it the whole time, and now they're like, oh yeah, it's fine. It's fine. We'll brand you now. Like, we haven't been branded. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, I love the support, but I also feel like y'all knew, y'all knew, and you ridiculed people for so long for trying to speak out, and that's a shame, and it's a shame, and y'all need to recognize that. Sorry, man. I'm just
it makes me just think, because I recently moved to New York, and which is such a different experience than growing up in San Diego. And I think the thing that we don't always get out here is that sort of like sense of homogeneity, of being part of a large group of people who look like you. Which has like brings some armor with it a bit. Some bravado that doesn't necessarily come from maybe being one of a few, right? And so I'm just curious for you, like, I mean, did you ever feel like that, like growing up?
You know what? I talked to my dad about this when I got to high school. I was like, when I walk around, every black person I look at gives me the head nod. Every single one, and every white person avoids their eyes or make a weird smile or does something bizarre. And I was like, what is that? I don't understand it. Like, it's something very noticeable. And I didn't understand it. He was like, look, there's only so many black people in San Diego. So when we see you, we see you. It's a recognition of like, you're here, I'm here too. Like, if something goes down, like, I got you. There's no, and that's something the black community has always, at the end of the day, there's lots of diversity, depends on like, we can talk about gay rights and trans rights in the black community, but at the end of the day, when you're black, you are black. And that's what it goes down to, because you have to be, we have to be, because if nobody spoke out for Ahmaud Arbery, those people would be free for sure. If people didn't speak out, none of these things would have come to justice or even been brought to attention. They would have been brushed aside, and everyone would have forgot about them.
Right.
So we have to speak out. Otherwise, nobody else will. And you know what? Y'all should want to speak out too, because people are doing some horrible, horrible things. And if you don't want some sort of justice for the people that live in this country, like your people, the people who live beside you, then you're fighting the wrong fight. You're on the wrong side of history, and you're on the wrong side of humanity. Unfortunately, I don't know how better to explain that to you at this point. Yeah.
Oh man, I'm so grateful. Now I know you're going to be doing something else today, right? Like
Yeah.
Juneteenth? Like what is that?
Yeah, Juneteenth, it's a party now. Now we gonna celebrate. Like I'm doing it with Ebony Muse, who has been doing events like this for so long, you know. And I'm like, I'm just glad that I'm gonna go out there and celebrate with you. We all need a little celebration. I think Joy's gonna be out there. She's coming up pretty soon, so it's gonna be the whole community. You know, it's like. Y'all, if y'all feeling frisky, you can come out too. I don't care. Like, bring a mask. Bring a mask. We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna celebrate, and we're gonna listen, and we're just gonna be together.
That's awesome, bro. Thank you so much. I'm so appreciative, and I keep using again Gil's title of his poem, but I am in love with having you in this community, and thank you so much for giving us just sharing a little bit of yourself with us today.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
All right, and for those of you at home, some good news so far. We are at $23.35 for our GoFundMe for the 4th District Senior Resource Center. And so share it out. If you haven't taken a moment to give yet, I mean, like $5, $10, whatever you feel like was within your power to do, we appreciate it. And we thank those of you again that have given us so far. And now, check out this next video on Juneteenth.
Originally, I'm from Texas, and that's where it all started from, the southern states.
The history of Juneteenth, it began in 1863 when President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation.
Is, of course, the celebration of the proclamation, the Emancipation Proclamation, which means that the people who had been brought here as people from their own country and enslaved when they came to the United States were now pronounced free. Of course, we know that Juneteenth was about 2.5 years after the proclamation had gone into effect. So it really went into effect on January 1st, 1863. But it wasn't until June 19th, 1865, that General Granger actually had arrived in Texas with the good news. So it's a significant day, especially when we talk about the importance of being free and the fact that we then were able to do what we needed to do for ourselves after being enslaved.
I go out every Juneteenth and celebrate somewhere. And we have a lot of celebrations that occur here in San Diego. And we also have a huge celebration here at the Senior Center. Mm-hmm. And so I always participate in that for the last few years.
Celebrating, we had barbecues, the soul food, the greens and fried fish, and, always had like a barbecue, big party and stuff. Fireworks, everything on Juneteenth, because it was considered the Black 4th of July. Food was like comfort.
Juneteenth to me means that though the rights should have been granted to the slaves as like anybody else, it's sort of like a token of what we're going to allow you to have. It didn't really mean freedom. It was just a symbol of what somebody else thought. Because the same problems of slavery is still going on all these years later.
For all of you that are, again, just joining us for the second half of our Juneteenth celebration, we are raising money for the 4th District Seniors Resource Center, who is a community partner of the Old Globe Theater. And so far, we've gotten about $2,400. Our goal for today is $5,000 and up. If we can do it, I believe we can do it with your participation at home. So thank you again for joining in. The next part of today's celebration, we are actually going to present for you a new play. It's never been done before by a local artist. Her name is Joy Yvonne Jones. And Joy has created an amazing play. called Ode to My Mothers. And as you know, as we've talked about in the last couple of hours, that Juneteenth is a moment where we get an opportunity to share the stories of our ancestors, to acknowledge our elders. And I want to read for you what Joy had to share about her dedication around this play. It reads, I would like to dedicate this reading to Ms. Cheryl Parks. She's one of my mothers who's encouraged, loved, and supported me on my journey. Due to the complication with COVID-19, she has taken her place among the ancestors. Thank you, Ms. Cheryl, for gracing me with your light. Sending blessings to you, Joy, and to all of you at home. Please enjoy this live reading of Joy Yvonne Jones' Ode to My Mothers, which is going to be directed by Delicia Turner Sonnenberg, who you may remember. She is a local director here in San Diego. She used to be the artistic director for Moxie Theater, which is out in San Diego over in the college area. And also, Delicia worked with us on our Ruby and Us last year at the Senior Center. So again, our worlds collide, which is a wonderful and amazing. And I'm super excited and I'm grateful that the Old Globe has actually created such an accessible place for our community so that local artists like Joy can come in and bring new work into the space and find a platform for it to happen. So let me tell you real quick about our cast. We have Melina Phillips, Yolanda Franklin, Anthony Ham, Carter Piggy, sorry if I butchered that, Carter, Ariel Seiler, and then Joy Yvonne Jones presenting Ode to My Mothers.
Ode to My Mothers by Joy Yvonne Jones. Ode to My Mothers is a journey through life in America through the lens of an African-American lineage. The purpose of this work is to both entertain and inform by examining major events in American history that have shaped the Black community's fight for justice and humanity. This play is a poem to all that came before that have fought and sacrificed with the hope that their children will have more opportunities and resources than the generation before. The fight today is different, but also the same. Live broadcast, reporter on location at a protest. There is a clear divide. Protesters on one side and the police in riot gear in a line on the other. In the background, there are signs that read,
No justice, no peace!
We're not all free. None of us are free.
Black lives matter!
Black trans lives matter.
Silence is not an option!
Equal rights!
I can't breathe!
A small boy holds a sign that reads,
Am I next?
The crowd of protesters continues to increase after the shooting of yet another unarmed Black citizen by local police. Protesters were confronted by a militarized police force reminiscent of Ferguson in 2014.
Behind the reporter, there is one woman that silently steps out into the space between the groups of people, and she is immediately subdued by police and taken away. As the video fades to black, the chants of no justice, no peace continue. Amari, Zola, Bebe, and Jubilee enter their home.
Let me see you. Did they hurt you? No, I'm fine.
What were you thinking? Help me understand why you would do this.
You got arrested? Now what? What do you mean? What's next? You did have a plan, right? You didn't just put your life in danger to get likes, right? No, I had to do something. Did you see what they did to that little boy?
How would your death help that little boy?
You're smarter than this. I don't know what you want me to say. You could have died.
Those people could have done whatever they wanted to you, and we wouldn't be able to help you.
Don't make me have to look for my baby's broken body on the floor of some nasty county hospital because she was too stupid to stay away from a riot.
Too many people have given their lives for you to just walk out in the street and throw everything away.
I just want to help.
Well, do something else. Our every breath is an act of protest.
Mama, I know.
Then act like you got some sense.
Zola exits. Jubilee sits in her rocking chair.
If something happens to you, I would die. Don't you know that?
Yes, ma'am.
Baby kisses Amari on the head and exits.
Come sit next to me. Why did you step out into that street?
I honestly don't know. We had been yelling and marching all day, and they just stood there with all their armor like we're the problem.
So you wanted to provoke them?
No. I just thought someone should see how crazy it is for them to be covered in armor with shields, and we're just asking not to be killed. I am so frustrated. It's like we made it to the boss fight and we can't win. We have no way to defend ourselves. We have no way to protect ourselves. I am sick of feeling powerless.
Do you remember the stories I used to tell you?
Yes, Mama, but that's not...
Oh, girls, now hush up and listen. Maybe you'll learn something.
We hear the soft sound of drums playing, Yakandi rhythms, as the story comes alive. Time has taken us to a village in West Africa. This is a celebration.
There was a time when we were celebrated for our strength and beauty. Men would go out of their way just to get a glimpse at our ebony glory.
A man and a woman enter dancing. He is hypnotized by her hips. They inspire each other.
We had to be above the muck. From our womb, warriors, kings, and queens are born. And the man that proved that he deserved our love would be loved better than any other man.
The sound begins to seduce Amari. She steps into the dream and is swept up in the dance. The rhythm changes to makru and the dance is more energetic.
That beautiful existence didn't last for long.
A gunshot breaks the celebration. There's a scream in the distance. They all scatter.
Greed captured us and shipped us away. They came in the night and stole us from our homes. They treated us like cattle and taught us to hate everything that made us magnificent. Lust drew them to our beds and conceived the hate left deep within our womb.
They are overwhelmed by sound of waves and moans and cries. Now, this lot of Negroes just arrived from the Windward and Rice Coast. This here wench, past prime, put her in the field, she'll do just fine. Now, this buck is just past prime. Looks to me like he has plenty of good hard-working days left in him yet. Now, this here is a prime buck. Just look at him, this here Negro will get good help for a harvest and save you plenty of money at breeding more bucks just like him. Now, I gave this here comely negress the name Lena. Upon examination, she is clean, and I tell you myself, she is prime. Not a whipping scar on her. Now lift your skirt, girl. Let them see what they're getting. Now, shall we start the bidding at $100? 100. Thank you, sir. 100. How about 150? 150? 150 for a comely gal that'll dress your wife and warm your nights. 150. Thank you. Do I hear 200? Gentlemen, when will you get another chance to get a hold of such a valuable wench? 200. Ha! Gotta get 250. 250. Thank you, sir. Going once, going twice, and sold. I'm sure you will not be disappointed with your purchase. Go on. An older woman from the plantation crosses to undress Amari and give her work clothes. There should be a piece of fabric left over for Amari to wrap her head.
Come on, gal, get up there. There's work to be done. If the backers see you sitting on that floor, they beat the pretty off you for sure. Do you talk? What they call you?
Amari.
They say your name was Lena. Say that other name once more.
Amari.
I'm gonna call you Mary. By the look of you, you just got off the boat. And this ain't no Africa. The backera, that's what we call the white folks. Now don't let them hear you call them that though. Expect to get their money's worth out of you. They own your body and anything come out of you. So make yourself valuable and you'll do fine. I have to teach you to catch babies and care for the Negroes. You're a comely gal. So they not gonna mess you up putting you in that sun. Now come on here.
They exit. A man enters the quarters followed by his wife, who is noticeably pregnant. He has on a cowrie shell charm.
You have to get ready. She'll be here soon.
Don't go, not now.
Come with me.
Not like this. I won't make it. Just wait till the baby get bigger.
We can't wait that long. How you know they won't sell them away? Sell me away.
I won't let them.
They own us. The only way we're gonna stay together is if we run.
What if they catch us?
We have to try.
We have to live.
This ain't living. I'd rather kill that baby.
Baby steps back and picks up a knife, points it at Nasir.
Don't you touch me or my baby.
I want this boy born free. I want to see him walk around like a little old king. Can't you see us sitting in our own cabin with an iron stove on one side of the room, a bed that sits up off the floor, and enough for 2 stools? Baby, we could take them stools and sit down on the porch and watch all our children run free. No chains, no brands, no whipping scars. They belong to themselves.
How we gonna get all that?
What your preacher man say? Have faith.
They kiss.
Swing low, sweet chariot, come for to carry me home.
The man's wife looks down at her belly.
You will be called King David.
The sound of whips and dogs erupts at the heels of their exit. The whips and the dogs of the previous scene turn to sounds of war. Jubilee sits center stage.
Long ago, long time ago, God called upon a man named Moses to deliver his people out of slavery. He wasn't nothing special, but he was called. Moses went 3 times to the Pharaoh and told him to let my people go. But old Pharaoh hardened his heart, and he didn't release the children of Israel from slavery. For the Pharaoh's disobedience, God sent 10 plagues upon Egypt. The rivers ran red with blood. A heap of frogs came out of the water. Their stocks just fell over dead. Boils and sores covered the bodies of the Egyptians. Hail and fire fell from the sky. Then came locusts and all of a sudden, darkness. Before the final plague, Moses went to Pharaoh again and said, let my people go. But old Pharaoh was blinded by his pride, and he would not free the Israelite people. He wouldn't let them go. God told his children to sacrifice a pure lamb and smear the blood on the tops and side of their dough. That night, an angel of death came through in Egypt and killed all the firstborn sons, unless your door was marked with the blood of the lamb. With the death of his firstborn son, Pharaoh finally set the children of Israelites free. It took Baccarat 200 years and a bloody old war to set us free. I heard that Abraham Lincoln set us free a long time ago with what you call the Emancipation Proclamation on the first day, the year 1863. But nothing changed around here. It wasn't till June 19th, 1865. The backer called us out to the yard and told us that we free. And we just cut up, had a big old celebration. We call that Black Independence Day. Just like the Israelites in the wilderness. This land is all we know.
They exit. With the call of a new rhythm, the drums move time forward. The man and the woman pass the cowrie shell charm to King David. In the main room of their modest family home, King David enters dressed in his best clothes. He admires himself in the looking glass. He tucks his father's charm into his shirt. His mother enters and stands at the edge of the room, watching her boy get dressed.
You can't see past your own nose. Now be careful running around all times of the night, King David.
Mama, don't worry about me. I'm too pretty to get into trouble.
Oh boy, they don't care about how pretty you is or how slick you talk. They put you back in that field just the same.
I ain't gonna give them no reason to bother me.
Snatch you off the street fast and you can say boo.
Ain't nobody gonna snatch me off no street.
You are not made to be their slave.
Don't worry.
And don't you bring no fast hair gal in my house.
His mother kisses him goodbye and sits down in her rocking chair. In the main room of a young woman's home, she enters in her slip.
Mommy, you finished with my dress yet?
What's all that noise? If you didn't eat so much, I wouldn't need to let it out.
I'm built like my mama.
Mm-hmm. Is that slick mouth boy courting you properly?
Yes, ma'am. He should be here soon.
You have to make them respect you.
I know, Mama.
King David crosses the stage and waits to be acknowledged by the young woman's mother.
Come on in. You have her home at a respectable hour.
King David and the young woman embrace. He takes a step back and spins her around.
Woo, wait.
My mama gonna hear you.
Let her hear me. You look like...
Are you ready to go?
How about we go for a walk and skip the dance?
What you playing at?
I want to take care of you.
David, I want to do things the right way.
I can do that. I can. Come north with me.
Where are you trying to go?
Harlem.
David, how are we gonna get to Harlem?
Don't worry. I'll take care of everything for my little family.
What about your mama?
She can come too.
What about my mama?
She can come visit whenever she feels like it.
Mm-hmm.
King David turns the young woman around and holds her stomach.
Have you told her yet?
Are we married yet?
He spins her around and walks her off stage. A man enters and watches the young woman leave.
Hey, man, so you gonna marry her or not?
I don't know about all that.
Well, you better hurry up before I take off your hands.
Oh, don't make me hurt you.
Oh, you ain't gonna do nothing.
The man playfully swings at King David with an open hand. David blocks the shot. This is a game they have played since they were boys. Lost in the game, they don't notice a truck pull up until headlights halt the fight. The man and King David face front.
I guess we better go.
Hey, we don't want no trouble.
They're blocked right.
Just let us...
With each blow, the sound should build to become a steady rhythm. David takes a hit to the face. Nasir takes a hit to the body. David takes a hit to the body. Nasir takes a hit to the body, to the face. He falls.
Stop!
David blocks the man's body with his own. King David's mother wakes and looks over at King David. They speak the 13th Amendment.
Neither slavery
nor involuntary servitude,
except as the punishment for crime,
shall exist within the United States.
Our crime?
The pursuit of happiness.
He drops onto David's shoulders.
They took him.
Took who?
King David.
Well, tell me where they got my boy.
Parchman Prison Farm. David took me home, and before he could meet up with Nasir, the boys, and they could get back home, they took them. They say we can't see him till Sunday.
Well, what they got him for?
I don't know. They won't tell us.
Well, come back Sunday. I'm going to get something out of them.
Mother King, David and I was going to tell you about...
If David wants to tell me something, let him tell me on Sunday. Now go on. Let me rest.
The man enters. He is hurt and tired.
Nasir.
Then King David's mother and the young woman.
Nasir.
What did they do to you?
Nothing I can't handle.
Thank God you're all right. Where's my son?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
Y'all come together?
Yes. After they beat us, David carried me here and...
Well, I need you to tell me what happened to my child.
The next day, they woke us up early to go out and work. They passed out the shovels and David wouldn't take it. He said,
I ain't your slave.
They laughed at him and asked him his name.
King David.
Your mama must have thought you were going to be a special nigger. Well, I'm about to work that right out of your thick head, boy. Pick up that shovel.
No.
What'd you say to me, boy?
No.
This is going to be fun.
He just stood there. He wouldn't move, so they set out to make an example of him. They whipped him till they couldn't hold up their arms. And King David wouldn't stay down.
He did?
I don't know.
What do you know?
Mother, King, when they took him, he wasn't dead. But that was about 2 days ago.
All right, visiting time's over. Line up.
Come back next Sunday. I'll see if I can find out where he is.
Let's go.
They never found me.
We hear the song Strange Fruit.
Southern trees bear a strange fruit. Blood on the leaves and blood at the root.
King David and Amari are center stage. He passes her the charm. They embrace.
Go.
The young woman enters with a packed bag. Her mother watches as she prepares to leave.
What you gonna do for money when you get north?
Don't worry about me. I hear they got a lot of work up there.
Who gonna catch your baby?
What you mean?
I've been catching babies all my life. You think I can't tell a woman with child? I thought I taught you better. Now that boy's going off, then going and run off.
He didn't run off.
He got himself locked up.
They killed him.
You ruined yourself. And now you want to run away north.
Mama, I'm not running. I want better.
Who say you gonna get better?
Nobody, but I gotta get out of here before my baby end up in one of them trees. Come with me.
I got a home right here.
I love you.
Don't forget to take your heavy coat.
The young woman's mother lays hands on her and holds her close. The mother takes a roll of money out of her breasts and hands everything she has to her daughter. Fire roars and buildings collapse on themselves. A black flag is hung with white writing. A man was lynched yesterday. Claude McKay's "If We Must Die" is spoken.
If we must die, let it not be like hogs hunted and pinned in an inglorious spot, while round us bark the mad and hungry dogs, making their mock at our accursed lot.
If we must die, let us nobly die, so that our precious blood may not be shed in vain. Then the monsters we defy shall be constrained to honor us, though dead.
Oh, kinsmen, we must meet the common foe. Though far outnumbered, let us show us brave, and for their 1,000 blows, deal one death blow.
What though before us lies the open grave? Like men, we'll face the murderous, cowardly pack, pressed to the wall, dying, but fighting back.
They exit. Amari takes the charm and passes it to the grown man that was her baby. She closes his hand around it and kisses his closed fist. He puts the charm on his dog tags. He and another soldier are keeping watch. They are perched in a shooting position with their guns trained on the streets below. They are dressed in the leftover uniforms from World War I. They are part of the 369th Division, known as the Harlem Hellfighters, or the Men of Bronze.
How's it looking?
Here for now.
Puts his gun down and relaxes back.
Ain't you tired of all this killing?
I'm tired of these white folk thinking they can do what they want to us, and I gotta bow my head and say, "Oh, yes, sir. No, sir. Thank you for burning down my house and spitting in my face. I was a little thirsty."
I didn't say all that.
You tell me. How they put a gun in our hands and tell us to go fight for our country on the other side of the world?
Mm-hmm.
The Men of Bronze. They spit in our face when we get home because we were in the uniforms they put on our backs. Negro, please. I'm through with this shit.
Just around the corner from here, a bunch of leathernecks beat a black man to death with blackjacks and left him in the front of the White House. And it's not just happening here. My cousin in Chicago say that this Negro boy floated to the white side of the beach and they stoned him. He wasn't nothing but a boy.
This war ain't gonna end for us. Hell, we're drafted the day we're born.
After my papa was killed, my mother came up here to keep me from all that killing down south.
Yeah. My papa wanted me to be one of them so-called town to temp niggas. But we ain't have no money, so I had to get up and go to work.
What I wouldn't give to just live somewhere quiet, work, and come home to my beautiful wife.
There's a crash of a breaking window from below. They scramble to their positions again. He catches them in his sights.
Got him?
Yeah.
He shoots. They sit back.
I'm gonna take a leak.
All right.
As he exits, the other soldier starts to hum, or softly sing, "We Are Soldiers." His wife and mother-in-law enter and set the table for dinner. The wife has a baby in her arms. He enters the world and his wife greets him warmly.
Let me get your coat. Go wash up. Supper be on the table soon.
Thank you.
The man exits. Her mother takes the baby from the woman.
Oh, you gonna spoil this baby if you don't set him down.
I don't see you setting him down.
Oh, I'm Big Mama. It's my job to spoil him.
Mm-hmm. Supper's ready.
The man re-enters and sits at the head of the table. They all hold hands.
Kind Father, we thank thee for the food we are about to receive for the nourishment of our body. In Jesus' name, we pray, amen.
Amen.
The man keeps hold of his wife's hand and kisses her palm.
Come on, man. We have to move.
The man picks up his gear in a hurry before he leaves. The two women speak Langston Hughes' Harlem.
What happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun? Or fester like a sore and then run?
Does it stink like rotten meat or crust and sugar over like a syrupy sweet? Maybe it just sags like a heavy load, or does it explode?
Time is moved forward by a drum call. There is an explosion. It's Sunday morning in the home of a preacher and his wife. They are all half dressed in their church clothes having breakfast.
What's happening now?
I don't know. I'm on my way to the church to find out.
Well, how are you going to do that?
Why does it have to be you?
I can't change that I've been called to lead.
You know, they started calling the house and threatening us.
Don't answer the phone.
They're talking about burning our house down with us in it.
Fools have an abundance of courage when they don't have to look you in the eye.
I'm not one of your parishioners.
I know, Mary, but this has to be done, and I need you by my side.
I want my family to survive this.
It's not just about us. Now I have to go.
They blew up the church. They blew up the church.
What are you talking about?
We were all headed into the sanctuary, and then.
The woman takes a hold of the young man and tries to sit him down and wipe the soot off of his face. The preacher takes another sip of coffee and gets up to leave.
When you can, take the children to my mother's and meet me at the church.
How many people were in the church?
I don't know. Not too many.
Do you want me to take you home or fix up the divan for you?
Thank you, but I gotta get back.
He tries to stand and push past her, but stumbles back.
That blast must have rung your bell. I'm fixing the couch.
The young man sits down in the chair and the woman exits to another room in the house. He exits.
I know you want to be out there, but you have to take care of yourself. Rest so you can fight another day.
She enters.
You know what I mean? Get back in this house. If you go back to that church, you ain't gonna do nothing but get in everybody's way.
I can't just sit here.
You can barely carry yourself past the door. Go in there and close your eyes and rest for a moment.
Just till I get my strength.
The preacher is on church grounds trying to help. He is followed by a woman from the church.
What are you going to do about this, Reverend?
We are going to bring the men responsible for this atrocity to justice.
How are you going to do that?
If we go to the police station in numbers.
I don't want to hear nothing about going peaceful. They blew up our church.
There were babies in that building. So tell me again what you expect to do about this.
We have to make them listen and see our...
Mother enters in a hurry.
Carol, have you seen my baby? Carol?
Most of the baby's over there.
She gets to the edge of the stage and screams at the sight. Her knees buckle. The woman from the church holds her up.
Sister, I'm sorry for what they did to your baby, but there is good news. Carol is with the Lord. She feels no more pain and she has no more worries.
Shut up! You brought this upon us.
Sister, I know you're in pain, but...
Everything around here was quiet before you uppity niggas started coming around here talking about fighting for rights, stirring things up.
We must not lose sight of God.
What if that was your baby? What would you do, huh? That's what I thought. You don't care about us. Can't you see every time you open your fat mouth, we die?
We're all struggling, sister.
Tell that to my baby.
Now, I've been patient with you.
Patient my ass. I can't do nothing with your patience.
The wife of the preacher has entered during the exchange.
All right, now you done said your piece, sister. Now let's go take care of these babies. They deserve better than being left in the dust.
One of the churchwomen starts to sing, "This May Be the Last Time."
She right, Reverend. Y'all are surrounded by men with guns, and when you go home, we left to fend for ourselves. You ask us to boycott the bus, but we can't afford no cars. You want us to put our bodies in the middle of this fight and ain't got no money for bail. Hell, no money for a funeral. We are too poor to play in your revolution.
The other woman from the church picks up the song and exits. Seer gets down on his knees to pray.
Lord, what am I supposed to do?
Get up and help these people.
A man and woman dressed in all black enter as the accompaniment begins.
Brothers and sisters, shake off your shackles and pick up your crown. Segregation is not the problem. Covet not the beginning of the white devil, but establish your own level.
Pick up your crown. We have to take responsibility for ourselves and stop waiting on a blue-eyed savior that will never come. Pick up your crown. Black people, we have everything we need within our own community. Pick up your crown and shake off your shackles.
Due to the circumstances of the Negro on this land, we have been convinced that our redemption lies in the shedding of this skin. Shake off your shackles. We must create our own schools. Shake off your shackles, our own hospitals. Shake off your shackles, our own banks.
Keep the money in the community. The power of life and death is in our own hands. Pick up your crown. Mothers nourishing white babies while their black children sit at home with sunken eyes, sucking on bones. Pick up your crown. Brother barreling through the streets like a hurricane of trauma and defeat. Pick up your crown.
When that good woman comes home, hoping to find a sanctuary for her woes, but her reality is that she's a mother from them, a lover for you, and the only rest her dogs will receive are in those few winks of sleep. Be for that. Ring, ring. Babe, what's to eat?
Black people.
Black people.
Recognize that this untelevised revolution has to be brought to the streets. This act of survival is no longer acceptable. For the future to be ensured, we must stand up and show ourselves the standards we demand, then accept nothing less.
We fight for the children. We fight for the ancestors. We fight for our humanity. And if they take my life right on my grave, he did not go silently. Shake off your shackles.
And put on your crown.
Gunshot. They're heard, and they all fall together. A little boy crosses the stage and picks up a hypodermic needle.
Nasir, you better get in this house before those street lights come on.
Nasir runs into the house as the music begins to play. Lights. Sitting on the porch, a young woman is getting her hair done as Marvin Gaye's "What's Going On" is playing over the radio.
You don't have to be so rough with my head.
I ain't hurting you.
I better have some hair left when you get through.
Keep your head still.
Nasir enters with traveling bags.
How you doing?
Yes, fine. You?
Where you going all dressed?
Uncle Sam called. I got drafted.
What you gonna do?
What can I do? I got to go or they'll put me in jail.
That's a shame.
Good day, ladies. I hope to see you when I'll get back.
All right, then. Be safe.
I'll do my best.
He know he fine.
The midwife enters with a large bag and a heavy blanket.
How much longer do you have on her head?
Not too much longer.
What's going on?
We just got called to catch Retha's baby.
I can finish later. Let me just wrap you up.
She wraps the young woman's head in the scarf from the top of the show.
Go ahead. I'll be here.
Each woman is in their own space. They write letters and send love to Vietnam.
Dear Nasir, do you know your name means protector?
Dear son, I always knew that you were born to do great things.
The midwife enters, wiping her hands with her apron.
Junior, your baby has arrived. A beautiful little boy. He came into this world with eyes open. Such a strong boy is going to take the life by the horns, just like his daddy. We will make sure this baby knows your name. Just make it back to him.
Dear soldier, I hope this finds you well.
Don't you worry about me. All of us ladies will take care of home while you boys are away. You just worry about coming back to us in one piece. I pray that God keep you and guide your steps through this journey. And don't forget, everything you do is a reflection of us. So make us proud, little king.
I'm writing from Montrose, Louisiana. I received your address from the St. Landry Church. I put a picture in the envelope so you have some idea of who's talking to you. My mama always said, a kind face and a friendly word can make a world of difference in the middle of a storm.
I was too afraid to say this to you while you were home, but I'm going to borrow a little of your courage. Nasir, I'm sweet on you. They've called you to protect this country, and you walked into war with your head held high. I've never seen nothing like that. If you don't feel the same way, you don't have to write me back. But if you do, here's a photo of me. I'm on the porch, just where you left me.
Say your prayers and keep some meat on your bones. Love, Mama.
Be blessed, Jubilee.
I look forward to your correspondence. Respectfully, Amari.
Love, sincerely, affectionately, Bebe.
Enter Nasir in a Marine Corps uniform with the letter.
Sweet baby, it has been a few months shy of a year since I last saw your beautiful face. Your letters keep me going as we march through hell. I imagine that every step I take gets me closer to you. Good news, I'm coming home in just about 30 days. If you love me, meet me at the ship wearing a white dress. Affectionately yours, Nasir.
Nasir exits.
He's coming home!
The song Natural Woman, sung by Aretha Franklin, plays as she charges into her white dress. She checks herself in the mirror, then exits her home. Nasir enters with a sea bag in his uniform. She enters and he sweeps her up in an embrace.
You're here.
Of course I'm here.
Nasir gets down on one knee.
Will you marry me?
What are you doing?
You are the only reason I survived that war, and I don't want to spend another day away from you.
Well, if that's how you feel, then yes. Nasir Blackman, I will marry you.
He stands, they kiss.
I don't have much to give you.
Nasir takes the cowrie shell charm off of his dog tags and places it in her hand. He closes her hand around the charm and kisses the closed fist.
My mother gave this to me. She said it has been passed down from the first black man that came from Africa. And I would like for you to have it.
I will cherish it.
And I promise once I get on my feet, I'll get you a proper ring.
All I need is you, but I'll happily accept the jewelry.
They exit. Bebe enters the main room of their home with a baby. She's wearing a colorful house dress and singing.
Mama's little baby loves shortening, shortening. Mama's little baby loves shortening bread. Mama's little baby loves shortening, shortening. Her little baby loves shortening bread.
Nasir enters.
My baby with my baby girl. Do you know any other words to that song?
No. Do you?
Well, no. But how about this one? Who stole the cookie from the cookie jar? You stole the cookie from the cookie jar. Who, me? Yes, you. Couldn't be. Then who?
Someone stole the cookie from the cookie jar because there are no cookies in there anymore. No more cookies, only cookie crumbs. And I'm really kind of mad because I wanted some for me, for you, for me, us too.
See you tonight, baby. Be good.
Be careful, honey. What time should I expect you back?
Oh, it's Friday. You know I'm going to the corner.
Nasir kisses her on the cheek.
I don't think we can afford that.
Don't start. You do this every Friday night.
So do something different. Come home instead of spending your check on liquor.
I'll get home when I'm good and ready. Don't wait up.
Nasir exits.
Looks like it's just us girls tonight.
She sings Mama's Little Baby as she exits. A drum call moves time forward.
To our lost fathers, I stand here in the dark corners of your mind, holding the light, hoping that you will run towards me and put aside the substances that monopolize the time that should be ours. I dream of a brighter day that resembles our yesterday, when my smile was enough to temper those demons that haunt the harmony of your soul. I wish I was enough to rescue you. I wish I was enough for you to run to when this world falls around your ears and the only escape is the dissociation of your body from this time, leaving me behind holding the light. This light is hope, and it will forever burn bright. This light is love, and it will never burn out. This light is unconditional, and if you look, you will always be able to find me. Love, the one who stole the cookie from the cookie jar.
She exits. Baby and her daughter enter the kitchen of their family home after nursing school. They are dressed in scrubs and carry books and a bag with a frozen skinned cat.
Clear off that table so I can set down the cat.
Should we put some trash bags down just in case the juice gets on the table?
Okay, then hurry up. This thing is nasty.
Her daughter runs to get a few plastic bags to lay out on the table. Baby sets the cat down and rolls the plastic bag away to expose the body. There is a smell. Her daughter goes to touch the cat with her bare hands.
Don't touch that with your bare hands.
Fine.
Baby passes a set of gloves, and with a pencil and tweezers, she pulls back a layer and points to a spot on the cat. They are quizzing each other.
Internal abdominal oblique.
What does it do?
Support the abdominal wall, aids in moving the trunk and support of other muscles, and compression.
You sure that's right? Compression?
Yeah, it's the opposite force of the diaphragm. It compresses the space in the chest cavity when you exhale. When you inhale, the muscles expand, allowing the lungs to increase the volume of air.
When that process is interrupted by excess force or pressure on the chest, not allowing the lungs to expand, it is called
traumatic or compression asphyxia.
Ooh, what's that smell?
Formaldehyde.
Oh, why is that on my table?
It's a cat.
It's our anatomy and physiology homework.
Well, what's a dead cat on my table got to do with homework?
We're studying the muscles and stuff.
Well, I thought y'all was supposed to be learning how to fix people. Now explain to me why they sent you home with a dead cat.
Mama, please, we have to study.
Well, I know, but you better not get any of that mess on my table. And don't make no sense putting a nasty ass dead cat on the dinner table.
Are you ready to get back to work?
They begin the pack up.
Intercostal muscles, the main respiratory muscles in between the ribs, they pull the ribs backwards and forwards.
The drum call moves time forward. Jubilee enters and sits in her rocking chair. It's early morning and a young mother rushes into the family home with her baby and a baby bag.
Morning, Mama. Here she is, and everything you should need is in the bag.
What time do you get off work?
7, so I should be back by 7:30. If you need anything, the number for the hospital is in the side pocket.
All right, go on. You don't want to be late for work.
She kisses the baby on the head.
Bye, Amade. I love you.
Jubilee rocks the baby and sings Swinging Low, Sweet Chariot. Enter Zola in scrubs.
Morning, Mama. I see Bibi has been here already.
Yeah, she should be at the hospital by now. There's some bacon on the stove if you're hungry.
Mama, and you know you're not supposed to be cooking.
I ain't dead yet.
Well, thank God for that. Now, put the baby down while I give you your insulin.
I hate that old devilish shot. You always jugging me in the arm so hard.
Mama, it ain't that bad.
You ain't going in her arm with it now, is you?
Jubilee sits back in the rocking chair and Zola cleans off her arm and gives Jubilee the shot.
It's a shame. All I've done for you, and you trying to kill me with that needle.
Oh, Mama, please.
Zola cleans up the medical supplies, picks up the remote control, and turns on the news. The screen lights up with the video of the beating of Rodney King by the LAPD.
It began as a high-speed chase early Sunday morning and has ended with the victim brutally beaten and kicked by the LAPD. Rodney King was struck as many as 56 times and suffered several broken bones. Among the injuries, King suffered a concussion and one of his eye sockets was pulverized. Much of this was captured by a home video camera belonging to a neighborhood resident. The LAPD says that it was not racially motivated.
Turn that off. I don't want to see them beat that man.
It's a shame. Don't make no sense to be that ugly.
The drums call move time forward. Bebe comes back to pick up the baby. Zola leaves. Jubilee sits in the rocking chair. Another day. Zola arrives and Bebe enters with the baby and leaves. Newscast plays.
This grainy videotape captures the last moments of 15-year-old Latasha Harlan's life. A Korean store owner thought she was stealing orange juice. In this video, we see that there was an altercation over Harlan's bag, and as she turns away, the convenience store owner shot her in the back of the head.
My God, that's a baby.
Turn it off.
I hope they lock him up and throw away the key.
The drum call moves time forward.
This morning in Simi Valley at the East County Courthouse, we await the verdict for the 4 police officers that were charged in the beating of Rodney King: Stacy Kuhn, Lawrence Powell, Timothy Wind, and Theodore Briseño.
What do you think they're gonna do?
I don't know why you watch this mess. They didn't put that woman away for killing that child. They're not gonna put these white men away for whipping a nigger.
Mama, don't talk like that.
Shit.
It's back on.
Not guilty on all but 1 count, and the jurors were not able to reach a verdict on that count.
Zola turns the TV off. A small roar of voices approach and pass the house with the shouts of, "Guilty, guilty, guilty." The phone rings. The young mother enters from the other side of the stage. She is still at work.
Hello? Grandmama, can you watch Amade for the night? I can't leave the hospital.
Is that her? Is she all right?
She can't leave the hospital.
Why?
Zola takes the phone.
Mama, I can't talk long. They started rioting and I can't leave.
Well, you be careful.
I will. Just don't leave. Grandmama and the baby. Just don't leave Grandmama and the baby alone tonight.
All right.
Zola hands the phone to Jubilee.
Yeah? I'll call you as soon as I can leave.
Hello? Hello?
Lord have mercy.
They sit close together and listen. The young mother is frustrated on the other side of the stage. King David enters in scrubs with some charts that he hands to her.
We have 2 gunshot wounds. African-American male, about 25, shot in the lower abdomen. African-American female, 18, shot in the back.
Okay, what room?
No room. Just make space where you can find it. And after you take care of them, just go to the next ambulance.
The young mother finally makes it home to the mothers. She's covered in filth and clearly exhausted.
Hey, Mama.
You look wore out. When was the last time you closed your eyes?
I guess it's over now.
Not yet. There's just too many people. It's been 3 days.
Hush, girl. Just rest.
Where's Amade?
She's asleep. Go bathe and I'll fix you some food.
Yes, ma'am.
Amare sees the baby sleeping and kneels in front of her bassinet to pray.
Dear God, protect this child. There's so much evil in this world, and I pray that she has the strength to see her way to the light. Whatever her path may be, order her steps and give her the courage to hear your voice and follow your will. Cover this child in the name of Jesus, I pray. Amen.
The drum call moves time forward. A little boy walks on stage in his best Obama suit and a little touch of gray in his hair.
My name is Barack Obama, and I'm the 44th President of the United States of America. I was born August 4th, 1961 in Honolulu, Hawaii. Before I became president, I was the first Black person to head the Harvard Law Review. And then I became Senator of Illinois. And in 2008, I ran for president and won. I'm the first Black president of the United States. When I was president, I implemented Obamacare, which made healthcare accessible for all Americans and improved the White House with a basketball court. During my presidency, my family and I were a shining example of a true American family for the world to see.
That's good, baby. Now go put on your play clothes.
Yes, ma'am.
Little boy
and lay out your suit for church tomorrow. Don't want to see no cat faces.
Yes, ma'am.
The little boy runs out with a gray sweater and kisses his grandmother on the cheek. She exits. He starts making explosion sounds with his mouth and shooting imaginary bad guys. As he crosses the stage, we hear the Hillary Clinton voiceover.
They are not just gangs of kids anymore. They are often the kinds of kids that are called super predators. No conscience, no empathy. We can talk about why they ended up that way, but first we have to bring them to heel.
At the end of the voiceover, he is at the other end of the stage. Startled, the little boy puts his hands up and gunshot. His body crumples off stage. The audio of the newscast from the beginning of the play mixed with the chants of the protesters begins to play. Dressed in all white, Zola, Jubilee, and Bebe stand around Amare.
We have poured all of our joys, sorrows, setbacks, and triumphs into you. We are your history, and now you have to pick up the fight and continue our legacy.
No chain is strong enough or heavy enough to hold us back. We are the black gold they tried to blot out, the part of history almost forgotten.
You come from a line of queens, strong and elegant. We have a beauty that they cannot claim, a strength they cannot attain. We are something they cannot tame. Royalty is in your blood.
Nasir and King David enter on the other side of Amare, also dressed in white.
You are surrounded by love.
And guided by wisdom.
They all lay hands on Amare and baptize her. The stage goes blue, and when she comes up, Jubilee places the charm around her neck.
We are our ancestors, and our ancestors are us. When you choose to stand, you do not stand alone. Jubilee, a time of emancipation and restoration.
Zola, peace.
Bebe, baby.
Nasir, protector.
King David, a king chosen by God.
Amare, possesses great strength.
End of play.
Thank you, everyone.
Well, thanks.
Thank you, Joy Jones, for your
You
beautiful
all did a
work.
wonderful job.
Thank you, Joy.
I think I'm on, yeah? Here we go. Someone turned her mic off. But thank you again. What an incredible play. And I hope we, on the other side of this COVID universe, get a chance to see this actually up on its feet and in person, and to see all of you together as well. We are almost, just so you all know, at about $3,000 with our GoFundMe campaign. And we have about 40 minutes or so left in our Juneteenth celebration, which means we've got about 40 minutes left to raise about, maybe $2,000 more, which I feel is possible to do. So if you all don't mind, keep sharing it out, keep talking it up, invite folks to come and join us for the last 40 minutes. And if you haven't donated yet and you've been enjoying today's presentations, Ode to My Mother, if you enjoyed hearing from Brian Barberin or Kendrick Dial, DJ Mickey, any of the folks that have been part of this celebration today, please, please, please consider donating and contributing to continue the great work that happens at the 4th District Seniors Resource Center. All right, and now I just think it's a good time to switch gears a little bit and think about what Juneteenth could be. I heard today that the Senate has already put forth an idea about making it a national holiday. Yes, that's what I think about it. But let's find out what our seniors at the center think about it.
Tell me, what is your hope for the future of Juneteenth?
That it has resonated throughout the world now. It's become global. Everything happens for a reason. I'm not religious, but I'm very spiritual. And I believe that everything there's a season. Ecclesiastes, the Bible. So this is the season. The COVID-19 pandemic brought us together. The killing of George Floyd brought us together. So we are now just one. It's just one race of people, and it's the human race. And when we get apprised to the history of our different cultures and how we are and how we become who we are in our past, that makes us as one. And we don't see each other as the black race, the red race, the yellow race. We are one race. That is the human race. And that's all was born out of what some people would term as a tragedy into a triumph.
I hope Juneteenth will allow more people to know about what Juneteenth is all about. It's not just a number. It's a celebration for a very important event in the lives of black people. And so for that reason, we have to celebrate it. We have to do a lot of the things that Juneteenth stands for. And so I hope that will come about.
Our hope for the future and stuff, Juneteenth would mean just things get better, a whole lot better, and we would be, free all the way around, because that would mean a lot.
Ruby Bridges was a little girl who was the first child to integrate a school back in the 60s in New Orleans. And one of the things in this time since then, I've heard her say is that you have to know where you're coming from in order to know where you're going. And today has been so much about that. It has been about our history, the stories that maybe we didn't know about, like Elizabeth Keckley, about maybe the experiences of people that are right here in our neighborhood, like Brian, that maybe we didn't know about. But it's also been very much about what the possibilities are and the love that can exist and can help drive a movement for change. And I just bring up Ruby Bridges because with the 4th District Senior Resource Center, last year we created a new musical called The Ruby and Us, which I sang a song from earlier today. And it was my privilege and my honor to be a playwright and to also be a partner in really connecting the stories of their personal experiences and trying to weave them throughout a play. And one of the things that was always so beautiful about the time that I was able to spend there was the joy with which lives, even in sitting in some of these memories that could be uncomfortable, unhappy, but that there's still joy that comes out, that grows from the challenges that we as Black people have faced, but also we as Americans have faced. And so I want to share with you just a quick quote. And this one is actually by Dr. Martin Luther King. There's no easy way to create a world where men and women can live together, where each has his own job and house, and where all children receive as much education as their minds can absorb. But if such a world is created in our lifetime, it will be done in the United States by Negroes and white people of goodwill. And this next thing that we're going to watch together is an excerpt from Ruby and Us from our presentation last Juneteenth at the 4th District Seniors Resource Center. This clip that I wanted to end this day with that joy, with the celebration that still comes throughout the hardship, throughout the tension that we've all been feeling for many, many months now. And so I want to use this Juneteenth celebration as a way to do that. In addition, I thought you should all know that we have raised, as of this point, $3,100. And over the next 20 minutes, I want to encourage you to grab somebody in your house, have a seat, sit down together, and enjoy this next 20 minutes. And also think about how else you can continue to support work like the Senior Center that will continue to promote the stories of people that maybe you haven't had a chance to hear before. How you can continue to support the efforts to help meet the need of the moment with food that the Senior Center does, and also health and activity. how can we be active participants in creating the world that we all envision? And I think most of the people I know envision it to be a place where we all are together in it. So please enjoy this excerpt from The Ruby in Us.
We're asking for trouble.
Fred, for your enemies.
She never cries. She don't whimper. I can't play with you. Just march us along like a little soldier.
There's always another battle to be won. Going on. Are we still going to the library after school? I want to see your painting. I want to hear your story. Sissy's already got a chance to see it. It's my turn now. You promise.
Yes, of course. A promise is a promise. Oh, you have a nice day. And I'll meet you at the library at the end of school. We must step into every moment. With strength and faith and courage every day. We must believe we can be done. 'Cause there's always another battle to be won. Yes, there's always another battle to be won. There's a road no one's traveled before, and I dream of a day no one ever will.
We are asking for trouble, Lucia.
Trouble's gonna come anyhow. We may as well try. Who's to say change can't happen?
Things ain't gonna change. Negroes and whites will never be equal.
My baby deserves a chance. She's smart. She's strong. She can do it.
I don't see how the good will outweigh the risk. There will be retaliation. There's always retaliation. They find a way to make us pay.
This time we have the law on our side.
What good has the law been to us? They should have done this 6 years ago. We're still waiting for the law to figure out a way to make them change. Besides, laws don't change hearts, Lucille.
The NAACP said they're gonna protect the children. We have done everything right. Now we have to keep moving forward. Ruby has a real chance to get the education that we never had. We never even had the choice. If we step into this moment, she could have a chance for better jobs, a better home, a better life. We brought her into this world. Now we have to help her navigate her way through it.
I am tired of arguing about this, Lucille. And when I get tired like this, it means that we really ought to stop talking to one another and start praying to football.
All right, but don't waste your prayers asking him to change the situation. Ask him for courage. Ask him for strength.
Lord, give me patience.
Somebody has to be the first aid, and we can't win the war if we never step into battle.
Father God,
Father
Lord.
My wife and I come to you today with humble hearts.
Yes, Lord. Humble hearts.
Know that it's only through your goodwill that so many blessings.
So many blessings.
So many blessings.
So many blessings.
Come to us even in the midst of our deepest trouble. And Lord, we lay at your feet the humble choices.
The humble choices.
And we ask for your guidance.
And to trust your time.
And to trust your
and not
time.
to let fear keep us from moving ahead.
And to not let
but
fear.
to be brave like David against Goliath, like Moses defying the Pharaoh, like Joshua marching around Jericho.
Amen. I think you done found your calling. We could have used somebody like you in the war as a battle cry.
Imagine what I could have done with an education.
is amongst us, amen? Good morning, church. All right, I only have a few words for you this morning. You see, if you get nothing else from today, I want you to know that God uses the everyday, ordinary, average, mediocre person and thing to do great things, amen? You see, you know, he turned water into wine, right? When the casks were dry and the wedding party had already had too much, and it was looking like an early night, Jesus kept the party going. When the town got wind that he was in town, they beelined to see him. They dropped what they were doing, changed directions, and they ran, amen? They ran. And then they were waiting to see him. They waited so long that they ran out of food, all except this one little boy who had 2 burly loaves of bread and some fish he was willing to share. That was no problem for Jesus, because he took that bread and he took that fish and he fed a multitude, amen? Ordinary things, I tell you. You see, Jesus, he hung out with the beggars, the prostitutes, the tax collector, the Samaritan, the prisoner, the adulterer, the Samaritan, the carpenter. He brought them all together and he called them the church. A group of people who could care for and support one another, who could sharpen and encourage one another. Everyone has a role to play, one he uniquely designed for us to fill. Look at your neighbor and say, you are exactly who God designed you to be. You are exactly who God designed you to be. Yes, you with all those odd quirks about you, those weaknesses you see in yourself, those strengths that you wish you had. Turn to your neighbor and say, you are exactly who God is looking for. And I'm aware that sometimes we feel as if we're being asked to do more than we were born, or built into. Sometimes we think we're not enough the way that we are. And yet, even with all our shortcomings, when we come together, we discover that we've always had the conviction, the cunning, the courage to face life. But only together are we more than we ever could imagine we could be on our own. Turn to your neighbor and say, God is going to do great things through us. So if you get nothing else from today, I want you to know, church, that God uses the everyday, ordinary person like you and me to do great things beyond our imagination. I think I feel a song on my soul right now. I want to make the world a little better. I want to live in a world that is kind. And I know it will take a lot of courage. Gonna have to put my heart on the line. Sister Rhea, help me out now. It's gonna need a lot of patience. It's gonna take some time to multiply. Got to be braver than a lion. It takes courage to cross the line. Ordinary courage. The line. Ordinary courage. Sometimes God uses the smallest of us to fight the greatest battles. Jesus said, let the little children come to me and do not hinder them, because the kingdom of heaven belongs to such as these. So I've invited little Miss Ruby Bridges to come close out today's song. Miss Ruby, don't you look so pretty? Would you mind singing the last verse? You can take a tiny step. You could be a tiny girl. A mustard seed of faith, and we can change the world. Ordinary courage is the only way. Ordinary courage brings a brand new day.
My parents thinking. I could not put my child through this now. It's no wonder they had a tough time making their marriage work. This is too much pressure. Something was bound to break. But you didn't break. You survived. God uses the everyday, ordinary person like you and me to do things beyond our imagination. My parents believed that talking to the Lord was the first step to facing any challenge, but he was also the first step for praising every joy. And it's a good thing, thank goodness, because this little thing was about to spark a new era.
If I muster all my hopes and dreams, take a step in faith each day, then ordinary courage is gonna light the way. If I do it with all my might, stand up strong for what is right, and ordinary courage brings a brand new day. Ordinary courage.
Well, I hope today, and in particular, that brought you some joy, some courage, some faith, some strength, and gives you a spirit of celebration to continue on. There's more work to do. There's more to celebrate, more to joy to be found. Before I close out, I do have to do the thank yous. And before I do the thank yous, I want to let you know that there is still time. There's still time for you to donate in this GoFundMe campaign. I'm gonna find out where we're at right now to tell you. I think we're about $32.40, so maybe we could get to $4,000. That'd be amazing. I believe we're going to keep it open for a little while afterwards too. But thank you again to all of you who have contributed and who might still contribute, and know that our hearts are so full. And I know on behalf of the 4th District Seniors Resource Center that they are grateful. They are grateful for every little bit that you have been willing to give today. A big thank you to the Arts Engagement Department here at the Old Globe Theater for giving me this opportunity to host this event, and all the resources to get it done, and to make sure that all of the artists that we presented here today that participated were also paid. And Lord, just thank you for that. I want to say a big thank you to my producer, Miss Catherine Haroff, who's over here in the background doing her producing thing. But I'm super grateful. She's a wonderful friend, and she's a great producer, and she is an absolute treasure in this community. I also want to thank Jonathan Hammond, who's the man behind the camera. Thank you so much. Jonathan also works a lot with the Old Globe and helps us document all the great work that we did in the community. So a lot of those videos that you just watched, Jonathan was there, and he was the one recording it for us. So thank you, Jonathan. I want to say thank you to DJ Mickey. Woo! DJ Mickey, yet another staple here in the Arts Engagement Department. I met Mickey like 5 years ago at the World Beat Center, and I walked up to her and was like, "So, I'm doing this thing," and then lo and behold, she's now a teaching artist here with us. She is a playwright. She's a commissioned playwright here at the Old Globe. How time has gone on, and we've all grown closer and closer together with our community. So thank you, Mickey. I want to also say thank you to the people who are making me sound good, look good, and all of us sound good and look good, and that is Kevin and Chandra Anthonil, and they are way back in the room back there. But a big heartfelt thank you for your dedication to arts engagement and to our community. And again, thank you to all of you. Take another minute if you can. $10, 15, 20, 30, 40, whatever you got. Maybe you got 500, throw it in there. But we'd love to just be able to continue to contribute with the 4th District Seniors Resource Center. Last but not least, before we close out, I thought maybe this would be a neat opportunity for us to sing together, because you've been doing a lot of watching today. So it's time for you to get up and maybe sing a little bit of song. So I literally just came up with this, FYI, but I thought we might just do something that felt encouraging again. And it's just a simple song, and you may have heard it before, and it's just This Little Light of Mine. So if you feel like it, grab somebody you're with, and grab them by the hand, look them in the eye, sing together. This little light of mine, this little light of mine, this little light of mine.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, 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 let it shine.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Happy Juneteenth! See you guys at our next arts engagement program.
When we march, y'all mad. We sit down, y'all mad. We speak up, y'all mad. When we die, y'all silent. When we march, y'all mad. We sit down, y'all mad. We speak up, y'all mad. When we die, y'all silent. The year was 2020, a year so unlike many. The ups and downs that came around in such a tiny time span. It's enough to blow your mind, man. But here we go again, another brother hunted, and he was just running. But don't you dare lie, cause the beat's not funny. Could've been my friend, could've been my homie, could've been my family, the whole hood, hot damn. The pain and loss and grief, I'm seeing the slain in these streets when we protesting for peace. So I can walk and I can breathe. Hey! Simply wear my hoodie, no system trying to bully. Let me run and simply be, and I get profiled on these streets. All suspects don't look like me. How we prisoners when we free? Feel like no life and liberty. Seems like we can't get no peace. Well, ain't that a pity? I hope y'all ready can't live like this. We march, y'all mad. We sit down, y'all mad. We speak up, y'all mad. But when we die outside and when we march, y'all mad. We sit down, y'all mad. We speak up, y'all mad. But when we die outside, I ain't playing with y'all. Oh no, hell no. I ain't playing with y'all. Oh no, hell no. I ain't playing with y'all. Oh no, hell no. I ain't playing with y'all.
An enemy has returned.
Another morning with quarantine. Still my skin's a mystery. All the various shades, I mean, whatever you could have dreamed of. But now we back, and watch my tag. I ain't even brought up, you little funky redhead. See how the hass and hatred have the same connotation. So for Becky, Susan, Karen, get off your phone, mind your business. Just going back home, wash your own dishes, fix your own, but you got a whole glass ceiling. Yet and still, we can't even feel our feelings, cause whenever you come around, black folks stop.
When we march, y'all mad. We sit down, y'all mad. We speak up, y'all mad. But when we die outside, when we march, y'all mad. We sit down, y'all mad. We speak up, y'all mad. But when we die outside, when we march, y'all mad. We sit down, y'all mad. We speak up, y'all mad. But when we die outside and when we march, y'all mad. We sit down, y'all mad. We speak up, but when we die outside,
I ain't playing with y'all. Oh no, hell no. I ain't playing with y'all. Oh